sci-fi and made it so
It was
grounded.
it was much more sci than fi.
Oh, dude, so much more sci.
All science, and just watching Amy Adams try to work out signals and shit just for an entire movie, just like
This is literally
in this.
We were literally watching Sesame Street Space Edition.
Basically.
Hi everybody, John here. Before we kick off this episode of Pint Party, I just want to really quickly apologise for the audio quality in this episode. Specifically for my audio and for Ricky's audio. Everybody else sounds really, really good, I think. But that's just me, personally. Not want to toot my own horn, especially because this is a mea culpa. For some reason, my microphone was just like not having a bar of it. It was just sort of like, nah, John, you're not important. I don't want to hear what you got to say. Go away. And I thought I was plugged into where Ricky was plugged in. So Ricky sounds really, really loud because every time I would look at myself on the on our recording setup, I would think, oh wow, I'm really quiet. I need to turn myself up. And in doing so, I would turn Ricky up. So Ricky ends up really, really loud. I've done my best to try and fix it, but it's still, it sounds a little bit rough. Thankfully, I don't talk all that much this episode. I know, shocker. How about that? I don't do a lot of talking. That's why I'm talking right now. This is me getting it out of my system right now. And okay, cool. But otherwise, it's a really, really good episode. I hope you really enjoy it. It's a long one as well. I gotta say, this is probably our longest episode we've ever done, but it's only because we've got a lot to talk about because we're literally talking about the last 10 years. So hopefully you won't have to deal with another almost 90-minute episode for another 10 years, I hope. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Enjoy the show. Hi everybody, welcome back to Pint Party, a podcast designed to turn a beer and a chat into a tax write-off. I'm your host, John McLeish, and joining me is the Gimmick Gang themselves, Ricky Needs, David Yang, Lachlan Beasley Boys. Welcome.
Hi, John.
Hello.
Good moment.
You.
I just want to point out, just for those at home who are listening, I just want to paint you the word picture of what was happening in that moment. Dave went full Freddie Mercury when he said hello to me. So put that in your mind that he went full Freddie Mercury. All right, and joining me as well, first time ever, popping the Pint Party cherry, Pint Pal, Michael Thompson. Michael, welcome.
Thank you, JM. Looking forward to chatting some bands with the boys today. It's really, really good. I'm just so excited. 29 episodes in. But fun fact, though, I was part of the first tester episode when we did this.
The
in
second
the new year.
episode that was burned on release.
It will never be released
I don't
to the
remember.
public.
I think we definitely spoke about some bands that we've talked about on past episodes.
I'm pretty sure I told a story on that I haven't told yet.
There was because there was a story that you hyped up. And you're like, John, I got to tell you this story, and I'm like, okay, tell me the story, Dave. You're like, no, I can't tell you until it's on Pint Party. I'm like, okay, fine. And then you tell the story, though, and it was like super anticlimactic. I'm like,
That's not how you're remembering it.
Because it wasn't like, oh man, this is a fucking legendary story. Actually, you're kind of a douche.
Was it the Nepal story?
No.
It was the elusive prank call story.
It was.
Oh, we have a story on episode 0 that if we get to like 1 million subscribers by the end of the week, we might release. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe if I decide I want to cancel the podcast and I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's put out this dumpster fire of a story.
We're very, 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 very busy this week. We've tackled many years of the past decade that has just gone, and now we're going from 5 years. It feels like a long time, John.
Look,
I did a lot of growing in that 5 years.
It's been a long fucking decade, man.
And
It's been a long decade this past week.
Guys, the way we go through content, it's going to take 20 years just to get through this stuff. So,
yeah, that's a good point.
we're going to tackle on Strongly from 2015. And guys, we're going to give music some love, I think, first.
Yeah, we absolutely are. So welcome. This is part 2 of songs of media of the decade, or of the decade, I should say. And so, again, we're going to be covering music, movies, and video games.
Or anything else we really
I do have a bonus round right at the end that I'm going to spring on you boys.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're really just talking about the decade. I've just structured it around that just because, again, if you want to hear my primer for all this sort of stuff, please listen to part 1. And also, again, if you want to hear where I've sourced my information from, listen to part 1 because I talk about it all in there.
But we're using the sources you can find.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're going to we'll kick things off with music. So, and again, this episode is going to be everything from 2015 to 2019.
So for music,
Paint me a word picture, John. What happened in 2015 for music? What was the song for 2015 according to...
oh, okay. I thought you were asking me. I'm like, you're asking entirely the wrong man. In 2015, I was listening to locally produced house music.
Yes.
On SoundCloud. That's what I was.
Dude,
listening to.
no, I think 2015 I might have hit a strong SoundCloud run. I think when because I'm pretty sure that was before Spotify was really cemented, and
No, it was big. It was getting big in Australia.
SoundCloud was free still and was still heavily used
that
and
was
heavily
where all the
supplemented
creators
with
were.
music.
It's before the podcasting platform sort of taken off with now your Whooshkas, your Podbeans, your Omnis, your anything else that you use for podcasting services.
That's for podcast. I'm talking specifically just in regards to like platforms for music.
Oh, yeah.
Like SoundCloud was like hot shit still in 2015.
Yeah, but then it
Bandcamp as
got
well.
taken over by. It's now a podcasting service as well.
Yeah.
And now they charge you for it, and it's just because I used to use SoundCloud way back in the day, but it's 2015, like around about the SoundCloud rapper kickoff period.
Well, that's what me and Dave were
I
talking.
feel like it's
during
been
breakfast. We were talking about Post Malone's career and how that kind of skyrocketed from 2015, but he boomed from SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Like him and White Iverson.
It was massive.
It was massive.
No, like even the late Triple X Tentacion was like he was on SoundCloud
Yeah.
first, I think.
This
it was.
decade from like 2015 to
And Tekashi.
now is run by like that trap rap kind of like mumble rap gimmick,
Yeah.
like Little Peep, fucking Triple X Temptation. They'd recently just passed Juice World. Like, and in my opinion, I think personally, like if we're going to jump right into it, Post Malone defines this second half of the decade for me. I think it's too soon to give it to Billie Eilish. Just a
Okay.
bit too. I think
I was
dominates the first half of 2020s.
She's
I was-
active since 2015.
She has.
I was
but she's really kicked it into
I was
gear now.
about to clap back at you with Billie Eilish, but
And I think it's a fair clap. All I'm saying is I just think it's a bit too early. Like it's too. She really like. You're right, John. She's 2015, but she's really gone into her stride in the last year and a bit.
But she's been active for the past 3 years.
Yeah, active, but really hitting her stride. I think she will define the early 2020s. But as for the later stage of the 2010s, I feel you got to give it to Posty.
But I feel
3
like
albums in
Post-
4 years.
Post's turn was so much quicker though that I feel like Billy's was more of a progression.
Yeah.
Whereas-
Billy's was really natural, and then the audience just took to her. Where Post was like, boom, boom,
However,
boom.
I will agree with Yang though, because if you look at Post Malone, especially his tours, he's sold out 95% of his shows around the world too. And for someone who started on your SoundCloud stuff, that is remarkable for an artist who wasn't that big, say 5 years ago, and he's one of the biggest stars in the world right now in music.
But he wasn't a massive sellout concert artist from the go. He was doing warm-up.
one never is,
He was
though.
doing warm-up performances for Justin Bieber, like long before in the early 2013s, before it turned around 2015 when he came out with White Iverson, and then Stoney not long after.
Yeah.
And he smashed it. I think you're totally right, Dave, but I think his music was only one kind of component of his fame. I think another thing was how he marketed himself, him and his tattoos, and the way how he brought this idea of country rap in. I think was Lil Nas. The stuff that they've been doing with country music and rap has been fantastic over the past, especially 2018.
I think also too he's like the first really big mainstream music artist that
But he does
is
retain-
a meme lord.
But he is a
like
meme because he even
understands internet culture.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he's mates with Ethan over at H3, and he found him through just watching him on YouTube and that, and he gets the culture because he's really young.
He's bombastic. He's,
like
just
25
very
or
out
something.
there. But he's so young. He gets it.
He's a lot younger than you'd think he is. So he
24
understands.
at the moment.
24.
24.
Get fucked.
4th of July 1995.
God damn. Anyway, he's 24.
Music has aged that.
Yeah.
Man.
I think music, weed,
looks
and
30.
beer.
30. Oh, that's generous.
Dude,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I could have sworn he was close to 30. Yeah, absolutely.
Nope.
I would've gone
20
mid-30s,
fucking
man.
4.
Definitely older than Ricky.
Well, he's
Dude,
not.
it's
He's younger than
crazy.
me,
It's not.
and he's younger than you.
Here's my other reason why for thinking he was close to 30, because he drinks Bud Light. I'm like,
Yeah.
He does.
I'm like, why?
He's
Well, dude,
also
it's-
from Texas.
Dude, and he smoked.
That's no excuse.
he
That's good
smokes
beer
a
in
pack a
Texas.
day, man.
Texas
He
makes
does.
some really nice beer, okay? Austin is the shit when it comes to local brews, right? I won't hear a bad word against Texas beer.
Well, no, he's
Bud Light, what the fuck?
I think he's from Houston, because his dad works for the. No, wait, no, Dallas, because his dad works for the Cowboys, And Dallas is some redneck country. And they drink some Bud Light.
Well, it's funny. And he smoked Marlboro Reds for like the first year of
What
like
a fucking legend.
or his fame. But then he realized he's like, I can't smoke Marlboro Reds anymore. It's just too
No.
much on my throat.
Yeah,
so
that's-
now he smokes like Winnie Blues. I think like literally like
Yeah.
One goes to another.
yeah right.
Marlboro Red is literal sandpaper on the throat. Oh,
Hell yeah.
That's how he gets those sensual,
Yeah, those
husky tones.
those deep sort of moody
Better than
blues.
808s, man.
Yeah.
Man, don't get Ewan started at 808s, man.
Dude,
I
this
think-
man loves a good 808 on any
I think
track.
the other one to like put out there, and it's not a popular one with me, but I think just in the general like sort of zeitgeist and bringing the word back, Ariana Grande has had a fucking fantastic like last half of the decade. Like
Yep.
she has come out with some shit that like personally not a fan of, but a lot of other people are. So like it's hard not to include her. And Lockie, I'm going to throw this one at you because David, earlier you were like, Posty, 3 albums in 4 years or whatever it was. King Gizzard.
There it is.
Yes, so
If we're talking albums for years,
if we're talking about worth ethic and production of how much one band could put out, honestly, King Gizzard nails it. I
Yeah.
think it was 2000 and it was either 15 or 16. They put out, or 17, one of those 3 years. They put out 5 albums in the year.
yeah.
Which is
Are we talking feature-length albums here?
I'm
Yeah.
talking about like
Yeah.
18, 22 song listings, man.
Yeah.
Didn't Frank Zappa do something similar back in the day? to
Frank
get out of
it's-
the contract?
so, like-
He was like, fuck you, here's 10 albums in a year.
That seems like that seems like something that Frank Zappa would do, just because his personality was just so out there that he would do something like that. And I think King Gizzard, honestly, at the time, they just wanted to tour and just pump out music.
Yeah, right.
They even said on one of their last album for the year was called Gumboot Soup. And there's one of the last tracks on there is called Sleeping In or something, which is literally like a whole metaphor of the band just being like, enough, I'm done. Like, we're putting all the guitars down for a bit. Like, you guys can listen to 5 albums for a year, chill out.
Yeah.
And but
Just they're taking their own equivalent of No Nut November. It's like, this is no new track November.
like we're just chilling. But they came out with a new album this year for the first time in a long time, and man, it's smashed it. Like, we've spoken about in the past episodes. I don't need to talk about it anymore. Infest the Rat's Nest. If you haven't listened to it, please go listen to it. It's bloody brilliant. And the Spotify wrap-up thing that happened this year, King Gizzard was my artist for the decade, which is
Nice.
crazy, seeing they've only been working for about 7 years.
Yeah.
So... But if you want to talk about production and Ariana Grande, well, what artist did you say? Sorry.
It was Ariana. Just like her, just like she's been omnipresent.
Yeah. But I think Billy's the same thing. Billie Eilish. would
Billie
be this-
Eilish.
Yeah.
You know,
You were talking about the Rubens and you wanted
Yeah,
to...
so the one thing I want to mention about 2015 was the biggest shock coming out of the Triple J Hottest 100 is that you had Major Lazer and you had Kendrick Lamar, who were the 2 hottest artists of 2015, but the Rubens beat them both to the punch. So if you look at the top 3, Lean On was 3, King Kunta was 2, and then Hoops was 1, and no one expected it, and it blew Twitter up in 2015 because everyone turned around and said, how'd the Rubens beat Major Lazer? How'd the Rubens beat Kendrick Lamar? Like, everyone turned around and said, Kendrick Lamar, King Kunta, that's going to be number 1. No doubt about it. Put it in the books. Everyone knows that. And then Rubens beat, and when it came on at number 2, everyone's like, what?
look, I got some salt with Triple J after last year's one, man. Okay, after they fucking called Sicko Mode the Bohemian Rhapsody of our generation, I was fucking done with Triple J.
They caught so much flack as soon as the guy
Dude,
said
yeah.
it. You could tell the other commentator was just like, bro.
It was like, bruh.
I was in a fucking bus driving around Myanmar. Like, I'd listened to the entire thing. There's like 5 of us, like, just really keenly on it. And then as soon as they had like hit, like, he fucking says, like, oh, up next, number 3, Sicko Mode. Oh, the Bohemian Rhapsody generation. I fucking straight up drop my shit and I go, turn it the fuck off. Like, I'm done. I don't even
Just
wanna
because
hear
it's
what number 1 is.
segmented. It's so
Like,
weird.
what the fuck kind of call is that?
So there was a meme about it because so Travis Scott performed with Maroon 5 at the Super Bowl this past February. And the funniest thing was seeing a tweet come out saying, having to tell your parents who the fuck Travis Scott is and what Sicko Mode was mentioned as by Triple J with this band called Maroon 5.
I mean, shout out Ocean Alley, though, for winning it with confidence. Like, that was a banger, but fuck, Sicko Mode.
Ocean Alley is very interesting as well.
Yeah.
They've been riding their own lane, but I feel like they've also a band that kind of rides off the Tame Impala movement. I feel like bands like Pond do the same thing. This kind of very chilled back, open chord music. It's very Triple J esque.
So
And
can I ask a question real quick?
yeah, of course.
Because you're all talking about like, oh my god, like what the fuck, how they made this call. I thought that the Triple J Hottest 100 was a popular vote thing. So like,
No. Well,
it mostly
is.
It's supposed to be,
but it's meant to be in Australia. But the thing is, though, because the internet has become a thing, you get a lot of.
Don't know if you're aware.
But this has obviously let international people start voting in the Australian.
Block it?
No, they
No.
do not geo-block it. And this is
Mostly-
how Taylor Swift got
Yeah.
it got very, very, very high. And I'm pretty
It's how
sure.
humble Kendrick Lamar.
But I'm
won
pretty
the
sure.
2017.
I'm
Well,
pretty
okay, no,
sure
Humble
the Triple
deserved
J, Triple J because Taylor Swift was going to win essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
And Triple J I think stepped in and said, "No, we're discounting all Taylor Swift votes because of like, X, Y, and
What
Z."
was that? What was that year that was going up against?
Would it be the red year, wouldn't it? 2016?
Was it probably? Was it
I thought-
no,
Fourth
no. I
facility?
think it was like
So
might have been 14 or 15.
Yeah, it was around there where Taylor Swift
I think
started
it was
to create momentum.
When,
It was-
hang on, what were the winners
Well,
again?
2014 was Talk Is Cheap by Chet Faker.
Oh, yeah, it was
Oh.
the year Talk is Cheap
Yeah,
one.
okay.
So
Yeah,
20,
yeah, yeah.
2014 was when people. Oh, actually, yeah, because it popped up in my
Yeah.
my Facebook memories. I wrote this massive long post about why people are fuckheads for trying to like put Taylor Swift in there.
it was
'cause,
on
like,
the back end of
It's
the
like Triple
1989
J,
album.
Triple J Hottest 100 is meant for Australian domestic artists.
Well,
but
right,
then,
I said, like,
a year
it's-
later, Kendrick Lamar
Yeah.
wins.
But like I said, I did put in like my thing of like, you know, it is the last bastion of independent music in Australia and not only the world because, well, not only the world, but like for world music for us is because like we've discovered Kendrick Lamar through Triple J first and then he got popular. We got Kanye first, then he got popular. We had, you know,
Calvin Harris.
Calvin Harris first, then he got popular. Like it is, but we didn't have Taylor Swift on Triple J.
No.
And then she got popular. She was already popular and then got even more popular. So there's a difference between that. So like, yeah, people did try to fuck with it. Thankfully, it's remained somewhat pure throughout like this decade. There's a couple of like things in there. Like obviously, Humble was always going to win. It's a fucking monster of a tune, and that's another person I think for the like last half of the decade you could put up there. Kendrick has had a hell of a last 5 years.
Yes.
He's been massive, and once again, he's one of those guys who just is omnipresent through this last 5 years of just being like everyone thinks of music. Kendrick is going to pop up.
In the local scene for Australia, there's been a big trend in just like in party bands.
Party bands,
So
yeah.
party bands are real popular because they're like real easily conceptual wise. Like they're very simple. All the music's just there to get a beat going, get everyone to have a good time.
Yeah.
And they sell. Like
They
they
do.
work really well for the festival circuit. It's because they're just like quick acts and just like create a lot of
Ooh, yeah.
energy. But they're not there to like tell you a new story or whatever. They're just there to
Yeah.
make you have fun, and that's why they work well within the festival circuit. But you don't see these bands really travel outside of these kind of circuits or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
little pub side gigs they
I was
do.
going to say, there's actually an Australian band that I think has had a really good last like half of the decade, and that is Tame Impala.
Yeah.
They've
Yep.
blown up overseas. Like I remember listening to like all their like early albums, going to see them live at festivals and stuff back in like 2013, 2014, and they were headlining Australian stuff back then. But like this last 5 years, they're starting to headline international stuff. And that's massive for like, you know, what is it, 4 guys from Perth or something like that? Like it's
We got Doom Rats as well and stuff like that.
Doing Rats like they're like that.
DZ Death Rays who are a little older.
Yeah,
they're starting to come through now.
the new wave of like Australian stoner punk,
yeah.
like sort of picking up where Frenzal Rom left off, like, you know, a decade ago.
Even Spiderbait, like a lot of this, like
Yeah.
these
It's
kind
like-
of new sounds, this distorted, heavy beat
Yeah.
sound is coming back through.
Because I remember going to see this super show where it was DZ, Death Rays, Dune Rats, and Violent Soho in one night. It was such a good night. But like that type of music, that is that real, just dirty stoner punk, is making a comeback, and we're kind of leading the way in the world with that sound that's starting to take off around the world as well. So
But John's tastes were very similar back in 2015. How that electronic doof sound has really come in as well.
yeah,
Because you've got like groups like Lovebirds that have created songs like "In the Shadows" that have become timeless within the club communities for years now. Like, it's been a banger.
So just because brilliant, you touched on the Australian perspective, but from just like a pop mainstream perspective, I think so for both artists of this half of the decade and song of this half of the decade, you can't look past Logic and the 1-800 suicide prevention song.
That was a great song.
You can't look past that.
No.
2017, 2018, that broke the internet when he
I
performed.
think
that.
Logic. I think Logic broke the internet.
Logic
that
broke
year.
the
yeah.
internet. The man has had an absolute run
I
with
think
the
after
Everyday
the-
album. Like,
There was a video that leaked of him freestyling while doing a Rubik's Cube at the same time,
yes.
and I think once
Dude,
that
he's
kind
had a
of
run, man. Like, he really took over the internet. But then that song and the performance itself, because like he had
Alessia Cara and
Yeah,
Khalid
and
with him too,
Khalid.
and they complemented the song very well with how they are too. And like we'll mention Khalid too because he's had an amazing second half of the year too. But back on that song, I thought that those two especially complemented how Logic wanted to write and produce that song.
Yeah. And like it was the close of, I don't want to say the Arias or the Grammys. It was one of the big ones, and he was the final closing performance. And just
I think it might have been the Grammys.
To leave on a message like that, it's one of the biggest songs this decade.
especially like out of that album as well. It's like obviously like the most themed heavy because like he's got some great tracks on that whole
Yeah.
album.
I like how Logic approaches it. He's got mixtape Logic and he's got album Logic.
Well, and he
they're
splits it
different
up.
people.
That's the thing. The ideology and how he presents himself on those albums are different. It's like Unexpected Journey when he did the Conceptual Space album. He portrays a character.
Yeah.
Right. It's not himself. Whereas obviously on the 1-800 album, it's probably more of himself because he
Yeah.
wants to portray his story of his dealings with anxiety and depression and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like that's more relatable than like one of these characters that he creates.
And I'm not sure, but it's like one of the
Bobby
first-
Tarantino. Like Bobby Tarantino isn't
Yeah.
gonna be able to convey the
That's
message.
mixtape Logic. That's
That's
like,
mixtape
that's trap titty rap Logic.
Yeah.
And like that's some good shit to have. But with
Is
the
this like
18
a shady M?
That's
thing?
like
He's-
fluctuation.
to me, like, and Eminem has put him over
Yeah.
as like the next kind of like. I
There's-
don't want to say
The
white
next,
They're
rapper,
more-
but,
the
like,
next,
I don't wanna say
they're
white
more,
rapper.
the next white boy.
I'd say they're more wordsmiths than
Yeah,
than-
Logic is very much a wordsmith. His flow is brilliant. But like with that 1800 song, I haven't got the full number here. But that to me, I can't remember other songs, but had that kind of impact with that kind of dialogue about suicide prevention
75
in rap.
75% of Americans boosted calling that number
Yeah.
after that song came out. Like there was a massive intake. Apparently their phone lines were jammed
Now,
when that song peaked.
I don't want
in
to say
America.
it started the trend of emo rap we have now, where rap has become very emotional, like the subject matter of it.
No,
but
no.
that
that started in like 2015 with SoundCloud rappers kind of becoming a thing, like especially particularly in England.
then Logic really brought it up to the stratosphere.
Logic,
then with
so
that,
Logic brought it to the mainstream.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at like in a global sense, it brought it to the mainstream.
yeah,
Because if you look at like the United Kingdom and around that time, though, you had a lot of I can't remember what they called themselves. Like
grime.
No, it was like ambient rap or something. People who take antidepressants and then write rap
Yeah.
songs. And
Oh yeah, ambient.
Oh, we got that whole Zan movement. Yeah,
Yeah,
the little
ambient-
Zan. Yeah.
Zan rap or some shit. I can't remember what it was actually called.
I think it is called ambient rap.
But it wouldn't
Yeah.
it wouldn't be localized to the UK because like grime rap was very localized.
fucking sick.
But that grimy kind of punky thing has been a thing for a while. But yeah, I think they moved from like punk into rap at around that time.
But it's funny how like back in like the 1950s or 1940s where they would have cafes where jazz and like slam poets would be really big. That's like the SoundCloud rapper of today, really, where it's just these are all my emotions.
I just wanted to like bang on the table there and just click. Just like,
Dude, I've done
Cynthia. Side for our Cynthias.
that's 22 Jump Street.
Yes.
Yeah.
When they went to fucking college. Did that come out this decade?
It
Yeah, it
definitely
did.
No, but did it come out this
The
half of the
second-
decade?
The second one.
Oh, boys, that's up there. Boys, that's up there. Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill have had a run, in my opinion.
oh well, do we want to wrap up the music?
Segue to movies?
Yeah.
So
Well,
before we segue to movies, though,
Anything-
just going through this half of the decade. 2015, Hoops by the Rubens. 2016, Never Be Like You by Flume featuring Kai.
Flume.
Yep.
2017,
Flume.
Humble by Kendrick Lamar.
Yep.
2018, Confidence by Ocean Alley. But we don't know what 2019 is yet.
Yeah, not until January.
Well,
So,
Oh, yeah, what's
Bad Guy, probably, right?
Yeah, it's probably gonna be.
you don't think
Billy.
an Aussie would take it? I
No.
can't think of a song
It
that...
could be Tones or Billie Eilish, I think.
Oh, actually,
wait.
sorry. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, Tones
Tones and I takes it. Yeah.
Yeah, Dance Monkey's gonna get it for
Yeah,
fucking
true.
sure.
Yeah.
I hate that song so much.
I've learned to hate it.
What's the other one that was really put up this year? It was like, but it was more of a like chill, progressive.
Johnny Runaway.
It's a dude, but he sounds higher. Like he has a high pitched voice. I forget his name. You'd know the song if you.
I
play
probably
it.
would, but I don't know.
It's been on Nova. It's been a big rock tune for this year.
Oh,
I
okay,
forget what it is.
I don't listen to mainstream.
But-
I barely listen to mainstream music.
He's like, I've listened to Tool this year, mate.
Yeah,
Tool.
right. Tool released a new album this year. Tool are back. After 13 years of not being back, they're back. And I'm so happy, and I've got tickets to see them next
Well,
year.
that's the thing, right?
Oh my God, I can't wait. The album was okay. But it's still a new fucking Tool album,
I've been
so I
so
don't
bad
care.
with current music this
Yeah.
year. Like I listened, like I discovered the Grateful Dead this year. That's how far
Do you,
back.
do you know?
I've
Do you know?
gone.
Like the only reason I know what fucking like that fucking Tones and I Monkey song is because I watched the AFL Grand
Yeah,
Final.
that's exactly right.
Yeah, I was like, who the fuck is
Did
this?
you rate that?
And why do people talk about it?
So Tone, the last few grand final performances
From
I haven't
Meatloaf?
rated
No,
too
no, no,
much.
no,
We don't talk about Meatloaf.
Last year, honestly, 2018 was fucking good because all you did, you just got Barnsey.
Yeah, that's right.
Barnsey is
I was
all you
talking about the-
needed.
No, I was talking about the Black Eyed
Dude, they
Peas.
did the
Well, no, Black Eyed Peas
and they
was
had the
shit.
Killers
Yeah.
the year before.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, sorry,
The Killers-
2017.
Yeah, the Killers
the
were
Richmond, the
phenomenal.
one that Richmond
Tigers won.
20,000 people were inside the MCG at 6
Jack
p.m. when the
Revolt's
Killers came out on stage.
Jack Revolt singing with the Killers.
Some
What a-
bright. I missed it by like 2 minutes.
Oh,
I'm so
bro.
pissed because I went back into the G and like they were just presenting the cup and apparently I just missed it, which sucks. But yeah, like music. I think I'm gonna do this half of the decade and then like a full decade thing, like just based on last week and this week.
Oh, true.
I'm going Kendrick
Yeah.
just because like it like
Wait, half of the decade? Or?
this half of the decade.
We'll do both,
Because
yeah.
Posty has been good and he's huge, but I think that like Kendrick has put out 2 fucking brilliant albums this half of the decade, so I've got to go with him. But for the whole decade, and I'm going to agree with like the American Music Awards or whatever the fuck it was, it's got to be Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
She has been like
There.
impossibly.
In the pocket.
It's impossibly massive.
Yeah.
Like the level of like money and influence and reach she has
You
had.
don't even have to say Swift. It's like Taylor. You know exactly.
Yes,
who-
straight
Oh,
away.
she's not Cher just yet.
T Swizzle, but
Well, the fact that she was able to like make a fuck ton of money in the age of streaming media without being on basically streaming media
Yeah.
is huge. 'Cause
and whenever she wasn't, she was bitching about streaming media and was still getting media attention.
that's what I'm saying. Like, but that's what I mean. Like, she like usually when people buck against the wave of digital disruption, it bites them in the ass. Right?
Metallica,
That was a street fight that went a little bit too crazy.
yeah.
But like you buck against the trend of digital disruption and it tends to bite you in the ass. And so like the fact that Taylor Swift was not only able to like be like, no, fuck this, right, and make a fucking, I don't know if she made $1 billion. She probably made $1 billion. I don't know.
She is a 100 millionaire.
She's got to be
Yeah.
right. The fact that she made $100 million.
She has
whatever,
fuck you money.
She has fuck
Yeah.
you. She definitely has fuck you money. The fact that she was able to get fuck you money by bucking against that trend is huge.
Yeah.
That you are like we would be living. This wouldn't be Earth. It would be Taylor Swift presents Earth
And-
if she'd been on Spotify.
And she also released an album called Reputation, which was completely everything that she stood for as a singer. Like this was her being saying fuck you to the her managers, the mainstream media, and all that sort of stuff, saying I can make something a little bit different, and my fans will still appreciate and still love it. And in my opinion, I think Reputation is the best work she's ever done. The entire album is great from start to finish. Reputation
Over 1989?
over 1989.
Over Red?
Yeah, I think Reputation.
Fair.
You see the real Taylor for what she is when she's not this ditzy, smiling. I'm talking about breaking up with boyfriends. I've got this. I love my fans. I love this and all that. This is her basically saying, "This was the new me. This is what I am about, and this is what I think people need to see on me. This is the other side of Taylor that a lot of people don't see inside. This is my breaking point at times, and like some of the songs that she writes in it too, she raps in some of them. It's a bit more EDM house style in these ones as well. Her collaboration with Future and Ed Sheeran was fantastic on the album as well, and being at her show when she was here last year for Reputation, and her starting with Are You Ready? I had chills watching that on stage. Like just the dun 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 shh, like just hearing that live.
She's
It's
a brilliant performer.
yeah, and just having that start and all that, I had goosebumps. Like
Yeah.
that was a great start to an epic 2-hour set from Taylor.
This decade is 100% run by female pop. Like, just the individual female pop star.
Yeah.
So we got, I'm picking back up Ricky for my decade. Like I said, Logic was my half. For the decade, I'm with you 100%. I think it's honestly either Taylor Swift,
Nicki Minaj.
Ariana Grande. You just list fit. And then
Yeah.
to like at the first half of the decade, Katy Perry. Now, she's on her way out from
Yeah.
the
She's-
mainstream.
Mate, she's
And you got
done.
you got Adele as well. Like,
And you got
we put
Adele
her
the
over.
first half.
Her last
Well,
few
we
years
said
has
that,
been a
we
bit-
said-
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So,
only
yeah.
outliers now are really there's just two, and it's Ed Sheeran and Bruno Mars for like without
For the decade?
for that decade
for the whole decade.
But
Yeah.
Ed
Bruno-
Sheeran gets
Bruno,
in there.
I'm with you.
Yeah, but you can't not pass up Ed Sheeran.
Okay, I'm
no
with you. No,
other man
no,
has
no,
had an
no,
entire album in the top 20.
He makes hearts swoon. I can't
Right.
say he doesn't.
I mean, that man could sell at Marvel Stadium for 4 straight shows, 60,000
Yeah.
people going to his shows each way.
He could shit on his guitar in the middle of Marvel Stadium and it would pack out for 4 days.
No, you're
like
right.
that man can't do wrong.
No.
In my
He was
opinion.
on Game of Thrones for precisely that reason.
Yeah, actually, fuck it, Ricky. Damn it, I'll just to be a bit different. Ed Sheeran's my artist of the decade.
Okay.
He was on, he was
Fair
on my
enough.
fucking 2019 Wrapped, and I was a bit shocked, but I was like, you know what, fuck it, man. Like that's actually quite accurate.
No, that-
He was atop my 2019 Spotify Wrapped.
I'm actually surprised he wasn't top of your decade because
He might be. I didn't look at mine, but like,
back in the day, just for people at home, a little bit of inside baseball. Back in the day, we used to do a radio show called The Game Jungle. We talked about video games, we played music, right? Every fucking time I would ask for song suggestions from Dave, it was always Ed Sheeran. I want to listen to Ed Sheeran. I want Ed Sheeran. I want Ed Sheeran. I want Ed Sheeran. So I eventually just did like the Hour of Power featuring Dave, like presented by Dave's Emotions. And we just did like Ed Sheeran.
that was when I was going through something.
Which is when you need Ed.
But that's when I go to Ed.
Oh
So
my god.
I wasn't here for the last episode for the first half of the decade, but really quickly putting my thinking cap back on. For me, the early part of the 2010s, my 2 favorite artists were Bruno Mars and Calvin Harris. Like those two were
Yep.
really, really good.
We brought up Calvin last week, I'm pretty sure.
So
Yeah, we brought Calvin.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
So Calvin's album in 2013, 2014, it's escaped me right now. It had like Pray to God, which was with Haim. He also had like Outside, I Need Your Love and all that. That was an amazing album. I'm also going to throw 2 names out there who've had really good 2010s as well. The rebirth of One Republic, Ryan Tedder coming back into the mainstream. Counting Stars was a very popular song. And, you know, he's written over 600 songs this decade alone for, I think, 30 different artists. So we got to give credit to One Republic. They were my artists. Like Native was my favorite album of the decade by a long shot. Fantastic album from start to finish from One Republic. So they're up there too. But I'm also going to throw these guys in here too because the second half of the year, these guys have had from the song that, you know, got them into the mainstream, which #selfie, the Chainsmokers. The Chainsmokers had a really good second half of the year.
Damn it, fuck. You're right. I forgot Chainsmokers.
Closer was
You're always
the
gonna forget
ultimate
someone.
summer tune of 2016, 2017.
I fuck with Chainsmokers too.
Alright.
So I was thinking,
Who's your artist of the decade?
I'm going to be the Chainsmokers. From,
Okay.
Yep.
I'll be quick.
Just keep it quick, but I'll
Yeah, I think for this part of the decade, I think it's Travis Scott.
Yeah.
For legit.
God,
you
bad.
would, wouldn't you?
This man has created a absolute rock mosh vibe through trap rap, and he's
Yeah.
able to connect with audiences I don't think any other artist can create in a live setting that anyone else can. Like this dude has, I don't know if you've seen the Netflix documentary that came out.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It just gives you a quick insight into demonstrating how much this guy cares about his fans and how much he dedicates himself to his art form. And he doesn't give a shit about jumping into fat moshes.
No.
Like he'll tell the PAs and all the electricians, turn the lights off this bitch. Turn all the lights off in the stadium. Let's make it black, and then I'm going to hurl myself into a body of people, and we're going to see what happens.
He wanted to be in a punk band.
Dude.
It just feels
Yeah.
like he wanted to be like a Sid Vicious, just like
It's just the fact
Johnny
that he had
Rotten.
GarageBand on his laptop.
Yeah,
That's the only
like
thing.
he wanted to be in a punk band. He just couldn't find like 3 other dudes to go play instruments for him. He's just like, fuck it.
Good
I'm gonna
things
do it
to
on my
go back
computer, and I'm gonna act like a fucking
But like
crazy person on stage.
Astroworld, I think,
Yeah.
it just revolution. I think took ideas and themes that Kendrick was focusing on, but just blew it up. I think. I
Yeah.
think he added more of the party aspect to it. I think, whereas Kendrick was using that sound to advocate for something else. I think.
Yeah.
And what he believed
Also,
in.
he has the best sneaker drop of the year too.
Yeah.
The AJ1 Travis Scott's are fucking tidy.
So what's your decade then?
Dude,
Come on, big boy.
Like I feel like if I don't say King Gizzard, I'd just be letting myself down.
True. True.
Fair enough.
Like.
Just can I go back? I don't want to say it's Taylor Swift. Like I would love to say it's like a band that I love, like Lamb of God or Carnival.
That's
or
the
Tool.
thing.
Like,
I can't. Like, I'm
it's-
biased as. Like.
Yeah. Like,
I
I have to look at the metrics though.
But I think you're right. I think something like Ariana Grande, I think, would have done something. I feel like Taylor Swift,
No one's given love to Justin Bieber yet.
Actually, no one's given love to Beyonce yet.
No.
Oh, Halsey, I think
Late
did really well.
2000s.
Yeah.
Like G-Eazy and
Yes, she is.
Halsey, I think did like a very big thing. I think
Yep.
in the past
Yeah.
couple of years as well.
Youngblood.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan.
Also,
of them.
low key, Eminem. Not bad with the Kamikaze album and then the Marshall Mathers LP
Yeah,
as
but
well.
that was coming off Machine Gun Kelly beef, and that's just a whole.
But that's the Kamikaze one. Earlier in the decade, he had the Marshall Mathers LP 2, which was the ode to his like mother, which like the whole apology thing, like that was big.
Yeah, but it was
Obviously not the biggest
it was
Eminem's been.
buried
but he
in
had a big
dirt.
ego.
Really, I don't think there was much media coverage on it because I'm pretty sure
Fair enough.
all the
Right.
blogs and stuff just tore to it.
Better beef, Eminem and Machine Gun, or fucking
Eminem and Nick Cannon.
no, fuck that.
That's fucking stupid.
It's Eminem with anyone.
Eminem will eat Nick Cannon alive. No, fucking
you don't
Ariana and Nicki Minaj and Taylor Swift, because they were going at each
The
other.
Machine Gun beef was good.
Yeah.
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 The Machine Gun beef was so funny because they were like talking about shit that happened to them about 6 years ago, but
Yeah.
they're still talking about like it's relevant today.
Yeah.
What's the one thing people stiff Eminem on? And like you just like no one learns. No one learns. The man fucking wrote a diss track on his mother. No one's safe against this motherfucker, man. And people still go. Fucking Nick Cannon currently is going at him right now. Something about like the whole Mariah Carey beef back in the early 2000s. I'm like, bro, for one thing, get the fuck over it, Nick Cannon. Like, it was almost 20 years ago. And two, don't start Eminem, man. He
No.
just come off killing Machine Gun Kelly.
Also, the one thing I like from Eminem too this decade was the spoken word freestyle rap on Donald Trump as well. That was
No
phenomenal.
man safe. No man safe.
That was phenomenal from Eminem
No
to
man
do
is
that.
safe.
Yeah,
He stiffed his own mum. Like, just,
He did. No,
you
he-
don't mess with that man.
That's some old decade stuff. So real quick, just for me, because I'm not like if there's one thing that I think we can definitively say about me is that I don't know dick about like modern music. Like I really just don't know anything about modern music. So,
Honestly, like apart from a few things, you're not missing much.
yeah.
You're not missing much.
You know the names. That's all you need.
Yeah.
To know.
There's
I don't
moments
say-
though.
There are.
Music, mainstream music, I don't know dick about. So for me, I gotta say, like my artist for this half of the decade is probably Nightclub, which probably nobody here has ever heard of. Nope, not at all. Yep, they're
We'll just nod. Yep. Fair enough.
I've been to a nightclub this decade.
No, they're not a nightclub. They are Nightclub. It's these two performers, and they do like how do I describe it? Like electro pop kind of punk music. I wouldn't call it punky, more pop. Yeah, electro pop kind of music, but more like with a darker tone. Which I just absolutely fell in love with. It's a really great. I really like them as a group. And then for the decade though, personally, oh fucking hell, can I be abnormal and give it to the composer for the Drive film soundtrack?
I respect
You
that.
definitely can.
Yeah.
You definitely
The
can.
use of Kravinsky in
yet,
that.
yeah,
Oh boy.
not for not just for like the work that they've done throughout the decade, right? They made the score for Drive. Drive came out in 2011, but that one soundtrack, an entire genre, synthwave, and which has continued through all the way through this decade, and is now going to pick up some. And I reckon that'll be something that'll grow into the 2020s, and something that'll probably get more talked about in the 2020s. So so that's music done. Okay, there we go.
Thank God.
That's music. This is the music cast.
Movies,
right?
movies,
All right.
movies.
So now let's get into movies. Right. So,
Oh boy, this is the half the decade that Leo got his Oscar.
I was going to say we started just putting on a
Yay,
Leo.
Leo got his Oscar. Woo!
I remember the meme about Leo
And
too.
the meme died.
Yeah.
Thank God.
So for those who have been
He's
living
now
under
just
a rock,
another actor, really.
the meme was that the Academy was going to wait until Leo passes to posthumously give him an Oscar. That was the meme going around. However,
You're not getting one. You're not allowed one.
thank fuck for the Revenant.
yeah. No, you gotta
Dude,
put
I
that-
felt like
That
is
the,
more-
Re-
that
the
film-
Revenant for him was like the scent of a woman for Pacino.
Yeah.
It was like, we should have given you one by now. We fucked up. Here's a movie you are good in, but not better than you've been before. But here's the fucking Oscar anyway.
And that's the thing. I feel like the narrative of that film doesn't really hold much weight, but I feel like
No.
the directional
movie, but-
and the technical aspects of the film
Oh.
is phenomenal.
The performance held up, though,
well,
from Leo.
the fact I think
he
David,
grunts.
you got to give
all
it
he does
credit-
is grunt.
if he had to win one for this decade, Inception.
David, you got to give it credit technically because it shot it all in
Yeah.
in natural light. It was
Yeah.
no
No
artificial light was
No
used.
studio
for any-
lights, nothing.
Nothing.
It's
So-
also one of the cleanest one shots, like that whole like just no cut that at the start where they're
Oh,
fighting the
when they're
bear or
fight-
whatever,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's just one steady continuous shot for a
Well,
good like
it's
five
definitely
something minutes.
it's different cuts. It just looks like a seamless
Yeah,
seamless
yeah.
cut.
Has to be.
Yeah,
He's
the-
not fighting a real bear, Dave.
Because the last
no, I
time
know that, no, but I mean like you might be right actually.
He's
Might be
done
some
that.
cuts.
He's
That's an
because-
orange ball on a stick, is what
No,
that is.
actually, have you not seen what it was back?
No,
like
what was
without
it?
a dude in a massive green screen suit.
Yeah, right.
It's
yeah.
like it's like built out like a bear.
So what you're saying is if you were to watch the unspecial effects version, it's homoerotica.
It's a dude going like, Leo, I'm a bear, I'm gonna get you, grrr.
but you know, Leo's just absolutely in it.
No, he
He's
is,
just like,
yeah.
that's a bear.
It's a bear.
Wait, did you guys ever see the one where they fucked up the trailer for the Mummy and they put out a trailer with like no sound effects in it? It's just 2 minutes.
Wait, which mummy? Like the Brendan Fraser one or the Tom Cruise one?
The
Tom Cruise one.
Oh, really?
The
That's
bad
hilarious.
mummy. The bad mummy.
The really
they
bad mummy.
fucked up on the trailer release and they put one out that was like never supposed to be, and it had no sound effects in it. It just had voices. So there's like a solid and because like it all kicks off with the plane crashing, so there's just a solid 60 seconds of like of Tom Cruise being like, ah, 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 and that's it for like 60 seconds. And there's nothing else. It's all silence.
I freaking love that.
It's super, like, I loved it. Like, everybody was, like, really embarrassed and everybody was like, oh, that shouldn't have come out. It was a total fuck. I'm like, no, dude, that made me want to go and see The Mummy. I was like, holy fuck. If that movie was just that, I would watch it. Like, that's an art piece, man.
Yeah,
Holy
just
shit.
just concept for a movie. Tom
Yeah.
Cruise screams at things
Yeah.
Yeah, lol, I
I
told
would
you.
watch that movie.
and jumps on couch.
Yeah.
True, Revenant came out in 2015, so he literally started this half of the decade with the
Yeah,
Oscar. Good on him.
There's one movie I do want to mention though that started in 2015 too, and I think we can all agree is probably the best movie of the second half of the decade. The
Same,
return of George Miller and Mad Max Fury
I was
Road.
literally just staring.
You
My
guys,
man, my man.
last episode, you mentioned Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy was phenomenal in this. Charlize Theron was phenomenal in this as well. It was a great return to sender for a movie franchise that had not been in existence for about 30 years up until that point. And for George Miller to go through hell and back to get Fury Road made, he's done very well to get this movie
you know-
not only made, but also nominated for... Was it 9 or 10 at Oscars it was nominated for?
Did it pick up the most too?
No. It didn't win all that it was nominated
Dude,
for.
that film was an OH&S safety nightmare.
Yes.
That the amount of stunts they did without the permission of like OH&S was like half the stuff that was filmed like out on the in the desert was like all filmed without the consent of like anyone from the front office or
that's
anything.
just so
They just
shitty.
did it. They're like, if someone dies, we'll worry about it later.
We'll deal with that later. But yeah, it was going to be the movie I brought up as well.
But that's the
'cause
thing. I
it's
definitely
just-
thought that Mad Max in its production was going to be a taboo film because I definitely thought someone was going to die on that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
the-
But like it
the
has,
live action stunts they were
It
doing.
won 6 Oscars.
There we go.
And
Okay.
it was all for special effects and stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Mostly,
I
it
thought
would have been mostly technical awards because like you look at that movie and you are trying to find this.
It's a moving stunt.
It is, yeah, and but you're trying to find the CGI because it's very clever. Like there is one really bad shot where like a car's obviously CGI, but for the most part, like you are trying to find the bits of CGI, and he does it really cleverly where he still builds a real environment and then just like puts special effects in the gaps and in the bits where like your eye isn't looking exactly at that or at this car over here or this bloke over here that are special effects, but the majority, like the big tanker, for the whole time is all practical.
Yeah.
And when they blow it up, it's all fucking practical. And it has like literally my favorite shot of cinema for the whole decade is that shot where Max is on that swinging thing going back and
Oh,
forth.
yeah.
Oh, yep.
And when he swings in front of the tanker as it like explodes bit by bit, and you've just got the entire expanse of just cars and chaos behind him as he like swings past the camera and that thing blows up. It's just like it is beautiful fucking cinema that is just like it is George Miller. He's a bit of a renegade. Loves penguins for some reason also, but aside from Happy Feet and Babe Pig in the City,
It was a good movie though.
no,
It
it
was a
was
really
yeah.
good movie.
But George Miller is also quoted as saying, "If I have to make one more of those fucking penguin movies, I'm going to slit my throat."
Yeah.
So he doesn't like doing it. He likes doing Mad Max though, and just also the way not him, but the way that he goes about editing his movies. He has his wife edit all of his movies for him, and he says that the way that sort of works out is it's not a dude looking through a guy lens for action.
Yeah.
She looks through it for like beauty and like cinematography. So when he shoots an action piece and she goes through the editing process, she will edit it and cut it and splice it back and forth in ways that guy editors wouldn't do it. Yeah. And it creates this entirely different feel to a movie. And like, it's to this day, from when it came out, it is my movie if I can't think of a movie to watch. If I'm like scrolling through Netflix, just being like, I don't want to watch any of this. Yeah. It's all shit.
Watch
I'm just
Fury
like,
Road.
I just fucking put Fury Road on. It is, and like I said, Charlize Theron. Just so good in this movie. Like, for people that don't say much at all, like her and Tom Hardy and the chicks and the fucking dude with the face thing, no one talks in this movie, really.
Not really,
But it's
no.
all the
It's not going to win any
performances.
acting awards.
It's all body language.
But no, it should win acting awards because like the way that they portray their emotions and their feelings and their
So it's
wants
showing
and needs
intent,
through
not through language.
through like body language and eye contact and some certain grunts.
Nathan Jones is in this movie too.
He
He's a former
is.
wrestler.
Yeah, it's not relying on dialogue to build
No.
any sort of emotional tension or anything. It's purely a physical movie.
Yeah.
What I like about that film is also, and this might be me just like getting my artist nerd dick out, is the color in the movie.
Yeah.
Because it is a film. I can't think of another film where you could
very
have it
warm.
the way it was. It was very warm. No, very warm colors, but it had a really good balance because it had the blue and the orange, right? But at the same time, they did the chrome. I think it was called the chrome edition.
Yeah, the black and chrome.
The black and chrome edition, right?
Which is how he wanted to release it in the first place.
Yeah.
He wanted to release a black and white movie.
Yeah, but the fact, okay, but so the fact that you could have both and both versions of the film are equally as beautiful, in my opinion. They are equally as beautiful.
Like, do you want color or do you want contrast and tones? Before we head down just a Mad Max cast, I also want to put a little 2 cents about like my general opinions on film for the past half decade, I say. How
Okay.
Especially in drama, I'd say, if you kind of think about the Oscar beats for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
How it's all been focused on creating drama off niche kind of outcomes or situations. So if you kind of look at like things like Phantom Thread or, Manchester by the Sea,
Yeah.
I think it's like a real big example over the past couple. Hell or High Water, as I can see there, is one of my favorite movies, which was released in 2016.
Yeah.
Which has Ben Foster, Chris Pine, and Jeff
I love
Bridges.
Ben Foster.
Who Jeff Bridges is my man, my idol, my Jesus. Everything
Is
in
he
between.
ultimate? Is Jeff Bridges like ultimate daddy?
Yes.
He is.
I could happily have a coffee or any kind of beverage with him and sit and talk to him all day.
Yeah.
I would have said
Yeah.
2016 has got to be the weakest of the years this decade.
No, I'd say 2006. No,
Like, I'm just looking at the lineup for the Oscars.
I'll
like,
explain to you
man.
why, David.
Okay, Moonlight won.
Like
was-
Moonlight winning. Like,
That's the Academy Awards for Best Picture.
Yeah, I know, I'm looking
You're
at
all
that.
talking about the Oscars.
Dude, have you seen Moonlight?
no, but like it doesn't
Okay,
stand out
no,
to
okay,
me.
okay,
Like,
okay.
But
No,
I'm
no,
not.
no,
But
no.
I'm just looking. Like John's just about to do it. But I'm just looking at I'm looking at the decade. But I'm looking at 2016. Like, and I'll just quickly cut your mustard, John. Moonlight, Arrival, Fences. I know. Hacksaw
So
Ridge, Fair.
it's Denis Villeneuve's decade, man. You cannot say that it's
like
not
the best
his
one there is
year.
probably La La
Like,
Land. Like
Sicario alone nails it.
I love Sicario.
2017 was good. Dunkirk, Darkest Hour.
Actually, speaking of which, Ricky, you mentioned
Stop
the word,
living in the
like,
box office, Dave.
You mentioned movies that had little to no talking in it. Another movie, Dunkirk. There was little to no talking in Dunkirk.
Yeah,
It was,
It's all
Dunkirk.
tension.
it was more tension, and it was more like what you saw on the screen more so than in the dialogue itself.
Dunkirk is literally what's
Chris
his name?
Nolan.
Christopher Nolan.
Nolan just like flopping his dick on the
just been
table
like,
and just being like,
if-
"Yep, fuck
If
it."
Nolan worked for the History Channel, this is what it would be like.
Yeah, no.
Has Nolan made a bad film?
Yes.
What do
I
you
can't name
consider
it.
a bad
Oh.
Nolan film? Are you going to be going like Dark Knight here?
No. I
You
was
call
gonna say
Dark Knight his
Memento.
worst film.
Memento.
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 Wow.
Like the movie that got him on the fucking map. You think is a bad movie?
Look, if you haven't seen it, look, we don't have time for me to go about my.
Wait, have you
opinions.
seen the cut that's like it's in chronological order?
Yeah, I've seen the
which
cut
makes no
original-
fucking
no
it's
fucking
just
sense.
stupid.
I know.
Yeah.
You got to see it the proper way in
Yeah,
reverse.
yeah.
But I must say, out of all these other films, I don't think it holds up as well.
You think it's worse than Dark Knight Rises?
Stiff.
No, I like Dark Knight Rises.
I do as well, but I can understand that it is a flawed movie in a lot of ways.
I must just really not like Guy Pearce. I don't know.
Maybe that's- Guy Pearce is great. How can you not like Guy Pearce?
His face is that stupid haircut.
Stupid haircut. Fuck you, man. I like Guy Pearce. He's
But,
an Australian actor. Go Australia.
Denis Villeneuve, I think, has absolutely smashed it this
he's
year. I
had
think
a fucking good
Prisoners
decade.
he did in the early start of the year,
Yeah.
and then he was it Denis or was it? Yeah, it was Denis.
Yeah.
Denis did Prisoners, and then he did Arrival, and then he did Sicario, and then he did
Sicario.
Arrival, and Arrival was something different. Arrival took sci-fi and made it so
It was
grounded.
it was much more sci than fi.
Oh, dude, so much
It
more
was
sci.
all science, and just watching Amy Adams try to work out signals and shit just for an entire movie, just like
This is literally
interested in this.
We were literally watching Sesame Street Space Edition.
basically. yeah.
It was, what language is this?
Yeah.
It's good,
This movie is brought to you by the letter squiggly line.
Brought to you by Squidman.
Yeah, exactly.
And Sicario, I think, is a different lane of its own. That's
Yeah.
just me.
Sicario for me-
Emily Blunt, how she did not win an Oscar for that
I
movie
know.
is bullshit.
Who took it that year?
I couldn't tell you, man.
Yeah.
What year was Three Billboards?
2017.
2017. That's another good year.
That's
Three
another-
I was
Billboards.
going to say
great
2017
movie.
was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Three Billboards. Oh man,
You love that movie, and
It is
the amount of times I've spoken to
good.
Ricky, he always mentions
Sam
the movie
Rockwell
Three Billboards
was
to me.
smashed it.
Yeah,
It was
because
the year of
anything,
the horror coming out party.
anything
Well,
Sam
Get Out came
Rockwell
out.
is in. You watch that shit because
What-
Sam Rockwell is the best fucking character.
And
actor
what
we
year
have.
did the first It come out? 2016?
2016.
This
2017,
decade has
yeah.
been the horror resurgence with
It's
like
been
older
a
IP.
Stephen King resurgence.
Yeah.
Stephen King definitely
especially,
with
especially.
Netflix taking up a lot of the Stephen
Yeah.
King stuff.
Straight horror hasn't been popular, but horror thrillers have been popular.
Yeah.
A Quiet Place was
with,
good.
With Jordan Peele now at the forefront of like horror.
Well, Jordan Peele's done like two films.
Yeah,
He's produced a couple more as well.
Yeah.
but he's 2 for 2 from the field though.
Well, that's
Like
what I'm
on
saying.
horror
He's
films.
starting to get a little more way behind him, a little more respect.
what was your opinion on Us?
Look,
It's not as good as Get Out.
Not as
no,
good. as
I saw the twist coming from the start. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we
same.
discussed this, saying
Yeah.
how like
I was like, it's gonna be.
she got out, but
She-
she's actually like being a fake the whole time.
Yeah,
whatever.
she's the double the entire time.
Spoilers if you haven't seen
Well,
it.
fuck me, I didn't
Um,
predict that. Oh.
And then
Yeah.
obviously, like as Michael's got up on his laptop, A Quiet Place,
Directed by John
but then
Krasinski.
But then Bird Box came out the same year, essentially the same idea.
Bird Box ripped that off.
I
100%.
Was that two parallel scripts that just seemed to come out at the same time? There
No,
was no cross
because
parallels.
A
or
Quiet Place has been in the works at a script level for years.
so John Krasinski has been working on this
He's
idea.
had that and people have known about it for a while.
Was that
But
Emily
I
Blunt
reckon,
as well?
I reckon Bird Box is just a fucking ripoff.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Bird Box was,
And it just wasn't as an
Sandra Bullock, good try, bad effort. Like
Yeah, it was just it was a real cringe movie for me.
Dude,
I didn't like it at all.
just the jump scares alone just weren't even like
Yeah.
weren't tolerable. Like I expect if like the standard for a horror film these days is to have jump scares. I expect the quality of jump scare to be at least tentative to the experience.
Yeah,
Make it good. Don't just add some music louder and then throw something in my face.
It is
that does
definitely-
not count these days, Dave. I need more from you. I need more from the
I
film.
want substantive jump scares. I want jump scares that intrigue me and touch my feelings.
like the
and
Get Out jump scare of a dude running full speed at
Yes,
the camera
it's
and then
stuff
veering
like-
left at the last minute.
stuff like that is interesting.
But Hereditary, I think, is for me the scariest film I've
Yeah,
seen.
yeah.
Like
that movie is scary for a whole bunch of different reasons that aren't scary, like traditionally scary. But that movie is.
When it makes you think about things that aren't traditionally scary.
Have you seen
but-
Midsummer yet?
No, I haven't
I
seen
need
it
to
yet.
see it as well.
No.
It's the same
That's
guy.
fucking cleaning up apparently
Dude,
Midsummer.
yeah.
My sister saw Midsummer, and apparently that movie is fucked.
Yeah.
because it's not like it's not like A Quiet Place, where A Quiet Place it has like a traditional horror setup. You know what I mean? Like it's
monster or
there's a
a-
monster. It's a
entity.
dark place. Right, and there's like, and this scares. We have to be quiet and all that shit. Where Midsummer is like, no, it's just ordinary people in Sweden. This is ordinary people living ordinary lives, you know. And part of being an ordinary person in Sweden is you have to throw yourself off a cliff at 60. And sometimes when you throw yourself off a cliff, it doesn't quite work the first time. So your son has to get a rock and smash you in the face. And sometimes that doesn't quite work the first
They
time
in
either.
Midsommar?
So they have to do it
Oh
again.
my god.
And they have to do it again.
Yeah.
And then a third time just to really make sure that they got it right the first two times. That's Midsummer. Like that's what so it's not like it doesn't start as a traditional horror movie. It's like it kind of just gets you with some of like the fucked up situations you find yourself in throughout the film. You know what I mean? Like it leads you like it have you seen what was it fucking the magician guy he did we're trying to convince people to commit murder. He did this whole like street magic guy. It's kind of like that as a movie, but good.
True. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm just looking up what the bloody director's name is now.
But like, I mean,
Ari Aster.
yeah, this is my
Yeah.
sister's. I haven't seen it. I'm not a horror person. I don't watch horror movies. So like, that's that. But like, again, just from that description, it's like, whoa, this is pretty fucked. Like, yeah, it's a good
What's I don't know if it came out this half of the decade or the first half of the decade, but what's the one where it's the old army veteran who's gone blind and the kids break into the house?
Don't breathe.
Don't breathe.
Don't
Yeah.
breathe. That to
2016,
me
I think 2016,
That
2017.
to me-
2016, 2017, yeah.
revolutionized that kind of
Yeah,
genre.
That's the
suspenseful-
that's a sensory horror kind of
Yeah.
realm.
Yeah,
where-
yeah.
But
Also,
fuck,
the
was that so good though.
the twist in that movie is fucked up.
Yeah, dude.
I
yeah,
did
yeah,
not see that
no.
coming at all, 'cause
I
I
didn't-
didn't-
Did you like the twist? I didn't really.
I really found
I
it
was
quite
like, yeah,
confronting, especially
yeah.
towards the end where like she gets trapped by him properly and a turkey baster comes out and I'm just like,
Yeah.
what is going to happen right now? I'm not okay with this. I need to shut this movie
because I
up.
think it would have been easy to just go down that obvious
Yeah,
route
I'm
of
just like
he's doing it
keeping,
himself.
keeping the hunt happening,
Yeah.
but then you throw a fucking curveball into the hunt, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh, fuck me, what is going on? I really enjoyed the movie. It's not like a standout for me on the horror genre, but it did sort of come out around that time where it was like that, and like The Quiet Place and stuff, and it was like all these weird sensory horror movies. But I think it did a really good job with a very sort of simple concept. Threw a few curveballs at you, and by the end of it, I was like, well, I didn't hate the fact that I saw that, so it's worth checking out.
And
But
in the midst of all this dark, mature content, we lived in the realm of superhero films.
I was just
as
about
well.
to say, like,
Yeah.
we can't not mention.
So yeah,
Like this has been the
Avengers
decade.
came out. It's the biggest movie of the,
Thor
in the
Ragnarok
world
came out too.
now.
They made some money.
Like,
not even
Yep.
just that, Star Wars 2.
it toppled fucking Avatar. Thank God. Thank
Disney
God.
did some shit.
Avatar-
$1 billion at the box office.
Avatar has been fucking thrown off its fucking perch because it's a trash. I actually watched it the other
Dude,
night. It's on Disney Plus.
Avatar's waited too long
I
for
hate
it.
it. I hate
Does-
it just as much.
Does anyone care if James Cameron
No.
brings out like
No, he's
another
bringing out
Avatar?
Four,
I know.
4 in 4 years in a row. 4 fucking Avatar sequels that no one asked for, no one wanted. Like, why?
And,
Why?
and the
Ricky,
less
why?
spoken about the new Terminator movie, then the better
Ricky,
as well.
Come on.
Terminator's a dead franchise. We're done with
Hold
it.
on.
No.
Come on.
No.
Come on. When Avatar 2 drops in 2021, let's be honest.
I'm going to go see
Okay,
it.
there it is.
But I
Come on.
won't
Come
be-
on. Come
I
on.
won't
I'm not going to be happy about it,
I won't
David.
be happy about it. I will go to go see it because my job is to, one of my jobs is to review movies for Michael. I
Thank
have
you.
to go see movies.
Yep.
And Jim has put so much expectation on this movie that I better go see it and I
There
better
is
like
zero
it.
expectation
Thanks,
for this movie.
Jim.
No, there is zero expectation
guys.
for this movie. Like, all the Avatar sequels, I'm just like, they're going to be like big CGI fuckfests that are going to...
Is it Sam Worthington? Is he still in it? Or
Yes,
they-
he's still in them.
Oh my god!
Wait,
It's his only steady paycheck.
Do you know the
That's
best
it.
thing I've seen him in was the thing he did about the Unabomber on Netflix.
Yeah, that was not
That
bad.
was really really good. That
Wait,
little
Sam
series.
Worthington's still a thing?
Yeah, Sam Worthington's doing the bits
Apparently.
and pieces.
He's just
but-
10 years older now.
Wow. I remember in the
And
early
he's
part of
blue.
the decade, he was the main voiceover guy for the dude from Black Ops. Yeah.
The numbers, Mason, what do they mean?
Yeah. The other one I want to bring up as well, the theme that was really big in the very late 2010s.
2010s. What? It's not year. What year?
Biopic. Biopics were big
yeah.
thing.
Biopics were big.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes.
The movie Rocket Man.
Others.
Rocket Man.
Yeah, what? But there was like,
Yep.
yeah, Theory of Everything,
Yep.
Imitation Game, some other movies.
Jobs twice.
Oh, true. Yes, two Steve Jobs movies in one decade, aren't we?
Ashton
glad?
Kutcher's the OG.
No, it's not.
No, it's
Get out
not.
of here.
It's not.
Get out
I'm
of
with you,
here.
Dave. I think
The Seth Rogen version is so much better.
It is.
The what? The Seth Rogen version?
What?
Yeah, he played Wozniak.
Yeah, it's when Seth Rogen played Steve Wozniak, man.
no shit.
Yeah,
Did he?
it was him.
Yeah.
And it was him and Fassbender.
Oh,
And it's
Dude,
fucking
best
directed-
version ever because it's about the. It's,
maybe that's the
it's
best
about
Wozniak version of it.
implications and the drama that happens in between the showings of the new products.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
I
it's
really
so
don't.
much better than Ashton Kutcher just walking around his office.
It's such a
Like-
cool structure. Was that Fincher?
Yeah, it was Fincher.
Yeah, Fincher. Yeah. Like that was such a cool structure of just like it's just 3 moments in this guy's life.
And the film,
But, like,
so I'm
completely
pretty sure,
sum him up.
and the aspect ratio changes as like
Yeah,
each
for
development
each-
for each act changes. It's like the way it's structured is super interesting and super different. It's cool.
yeah.
The one movie I want to see, which is part of the biopic, is the new Tom Hanks movie where he plays Mr. Rogers, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
yeah.
I've heard
Ooh,
so
is
many,
that
out this year?
There's been
I've
films
heard
about
so
Mr.
many good
Rogers,
things
though,
about
haven't
it too.
Yeah, it's. I don't think we're getting a cinematic release till next year for that one, or we might be getting limited before the year's out. But it does. But once again, it's not a like cultural touchstone that Australians have. Is like,
No.
I don't remember Mr. Rogers from my
if
childhood.
they did one about like Hey Hey It's Saturday, I think it might be
Fuck
a bit
yeah.
different. But I got you so excited.
They
just
did,
then.
they did a miniseries on Molly Meldrum. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call that a biopic, but that was like a short series. That
Dude,
was fucking good.
people would see a thing called Molly.
They
Yeah.
did.
Maybe if they marketed it a bit differently, but
Yeah.
It's on Stan.
Molly
You can watch it
Meldrum.
right
Yeah,
now.
there
there's
you go.
also the Peter Allen one too. They did one on Peter Allen as well. The other two biopic movies that are going to be big too. Ted Bundy on Netflix. That was really good. And then of course the movie.
no, it wasn't.
Actually-
no, it wasn't.
The one thing we haven't talked about really is just the prevalence of streaming services.
Dude,
this
what's with white
decade.
people and serial killers?
I don't know, man.
Dude,
What's with white people and serial killers?
Dude, in the past, look at the Netflix trends for the past 24 months, man. Everything that comes up involving serial killers, like the Ted Bundy stuff. Ted Bundy had two things that came out for it based on him on Netflix this year. It trended for weeks.
And then
for weeks.
Fucking mind hunters, man.
Don't forget.
Mindhunters is brilliant. That's also Fincher. That's
I know,
that's
yeah.
good for a different reason.
Yeah, I know, because
Also-
Fincher is
also,
fucking
like,
great.
Just continuing that trend though, don't forget about true crime podcasts with like serial. Like the amount of girls I see on dating apps who are like, "True crime podcasts are my jam," and I'm just like, swipe left, nah.
Because
It was
I have
like
a
me.
weird
Swipe
murder
left.
fantasy.
I even
can't deal with
I
them.
even tried to pitch a crimes podcast for this network called Crimes with a Side of Lime, where it's just us drinking cocktails and stuff, talking about
crime.
I would
Crime
fucking
stories.
remember if you would pitch that.
crime
what?
with a
remember
slice
that.
of lime. Don't you remember that?
You didn't pitch shit to me.
No,
It might not have been you. It might have been me at a party with a drink in my hand. Being like, yeah, that's a good name for a podcast. Yeah.
And
You
just-
would pitch
you
the
just-
True Crime podcast to me. We would be doing the True Crime podcast right now.
You're just staring in a fucking mirror, just being like, "This is a good idea, isn't it?" Yeah, I think so too.
you got
Good idea, Lachlan.
Put that at the front of the pole, Dave.
But I think like streaming in general, like, and the fact that now streaming has their own production companies, like, I think the biggest thing this decade the decade. It's Stranger Things. Stranger Things changed the fucking game.
It's
when it
paying
came to-
homage to stuff that we've all seen in the 80s, but it's revamped it for
but
a new
I
audience.
think just like it made other streaming services like Amazon, Hulu,
Amazon in
Apple,
particular, I think.
whatever. Just be like,
Stan's not going to do it because
we can-
Stan's owned by Channel 9 and they
Yeah.
don't have the money to produce
But
their own
like,
content.
these,
but they did though. They did.
Oh, well, they had... No,
they
you
did
are
Romper
right.
Stomp,
No, you are
which
right.
was fucking good, by the way.
You got canned.
Yeah,
so
but-
I
sad.
know, but,
Yeah, but-
which sucks because but it's
Stan
good.
doesn't exist outside of Australia, so no one cares.
Yeah.
But like just for these production or these streaming companies to be like, we should invest some of this money back into our own productions and have it be successful. And that's what Stranger Things did. It was like, it wasn't the first, but it was the first like hugely successful one. And now like whenever there's a new Stranger Things season coming out, it's a big deal.
And it's not
It's
just
a
like on.
massive deal.
It covers all forms of media as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Like, the promotional stuff that happens for Stranger Things around the time it comes out hits GQ. It hits literally everything.
Yeah. So like now
But it also hits the meme circuit. Like the font for Stranger Things was a fucking meme.
Yeah.
For a long time.
But now, like, each streaming service has their own, like, they're trying to do their own Stranger Things. And it's created this new, and, like, the Golden Globes, perfect example. Like, Netflix as a network topped the nominations.
Yeah.
Like, that didn't happen 5 years ago. It was NBC or HBO or Showtime or FX. But now it's fucking Hulu versus Netflix versus Apple Plus versus fucking
Disney
Amazon,
Plus.
Amazon
That's
Prime.
that's why
Disney
HBO.
Plus.
That's why HBO is pretty much like like. We can not talk about like how much of a relevance Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I know.
is.
I was gonna.
I know we're getting there,
It's
but
not
like,
a movie, but fuck. It's,
but for
it's a
TV,
movie.
well, let's be honest. Like TV has been a little bit.
It's become
been,
movies.
but it's been a little bit depressing, I think, for this decade because I've seen a lot of good TV that started well.
Yeah.
That has gotten a lot of good popularity and fame towards it, but it has burned out.
I don't think I've seen anything die harder than like
Dexter was
Dexter.
Dexter
was,
died so hard. But
No,
I don't
no.
even want to talk
No,
about
no.
Dexter
I
past
don't
The
think-
Walking Dead.
6.
The Walking Dead started so hot. Everyone was just
Well,
like, "Fuck yeah, zombies!" Rick Grimes, fucking.
It was Frank Darab. Was it
It
Frank?
was Darabont, yeah.
Yeah.
And
With
then
AMC,
fucking-
and then AMC's because he was like, I want more money, and AMC's like, well,
Like,
we're not
no,
giving you more money.
No,
he's
and
like, well,
then
fuck you, then I'm leaving,
We'll
and then
put
they
him on
made.
we'll put him on a farm for a season and realize it's shit, and then bring him back for season 3 and put him in a prison and realize it's great. But then, like after that, like I think season 4, 5, 6, when we got to Terminus, people just started tuning out en masse. Like it was the highest rated thing on American like network television.
That people just stopped.
That just like it was like up here, like above everything, because not everyone has fucking HBO or whatever, but everyone has fucking
Whereas Game of
AMC.
Thrones, I think it was like season 5, and then the turn happened.
Yeah,
Another
when
show-
when they ran out of books.
Yeah.
Another
Yes.
show that died as well after what Jussie Smollett did in the media, Empire. Empire
didn't
died.
hit the same.
that died
as-
for a different reason.
as
man.
Violent Perry.
There were some social implications that happened outside to the main star
Yep.
that also kind of fell into that, which
Yeah.
is just kind of funny.
But like Game of Thrones. Sorry, not Game of Thrones. Well, Game of Thrones. Yes. Okay, we'll talk about Game of Thrones for a sec. I didn't hate the ending, but I didn't love it,
Look,
and I wanted to love it.
I know.
I know. It's
But
just.
I felt like they wanted to with the ending about making Bran like the end hero. I felt like they wanted to make the twist like hurt on purpose. We wanted you to be not expect this, like not expect Bran to be like
Yeah.
the guy.
Yeah.
I just can't think of another show that had that much scrutiny on it.
Dexter.
Bang. No. Like, I'm talking, there was
Not
a
even
2-year
Dexter.
gap
Dexter
between...
killed a show, man.
Dexter killed a show after season 4 after they killed Rita. Then they lasted 4 more seasons after that. All right, the fact that it lasted beyond that.
The Trinity Killer season.
Trinity
should have been
Killer
the
saga
end
was
of it.
lit.
That's just it.
Anyway, with Game of Thrones, I can't think of any other show that had this kind of attention to it. Bang on, first episode of season 6, everyone became a critic. The entire world was a
Everyone
critic.
had an opinion on
But
film and TV.
from seasons 1 to
What
5,
about
we were...
Breaking Bad?
No, no one was a
that,
critic.
that ended well.
Breaking,
It ended
Breaking
well,
Bad is universally
But Breaking
praised.
Bad didn't
Like,
have the attention because seasons 1 to 5 came out pretty consistently. Then there was a big break,
Well, no,
season
the-
6, then a bigger break, second half of season
And they
6.
changed the format of how they were distributing the shows. They're like,
Yeah.
we're going to cut it down the amount of episodes, but we're going to make them longer.
Yeah.
But that means
Now-
they're just filling it in with more
Yeah.
crap. They're
Now,
not,
Yeah.
a lot of discredit still
And a
goes
lot
to
of-
the
a lot of
directors
fast travel.
and the writers, but it's
how
still
can
a little
Arya
bit...
run that fast? I don't know.
Yeah, there were so many time jumps, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it was rushed, which obviously is their fault. But at the same time, we can't discredit the fact that the audience really jumped on so
But
hard.
were they trying to wrap
stiff
up-
them deliberately almost?
well, do you know what the story was with that?
Well, I just felt like they were trying to wrap up Game of Thrones to get onto the other shows they had planned.
Okay, so no, like DB Weiss and Dan, the other one.
The other guy.
I don't know. Everyone calls them D and D because they both got D in their name
Yeah.
somewhere. They got offered a massive contract by Disney to do a Star Wars trilogy.
Oh, okay. Fair.
At the same time, they were finishing up Game of Thrones. So, and HBO said to them going into the last 2 seasons, they were like, we have so much money and we are happy to give you fucking all of it and let you do like 2 more 13 episode seasons with like a ridiculous fucking budget of like over 50 million an episode or something stupid like that.
Like, you throw money at the wall. Like
Basically,
that
I was
much.
just like take all the fucking money HBO has and just make
Make
like,
good TV.
make the last 2 seasons, even though like I know that George R. R. Martin has an outline and he gave them that outline of like this is what the last 2 books are going to be. Just roughly follow this and then like the changes you've made, just carry them through. They got that fucking Star Wars contract and were like 6 episodes a season, fuck it, we're out, and just bailed.
Yeah.
Like they have said this in interviews, not like specifically, but just being like, yeah, our minds were somewhere else. Then they got the fucking Disney contract, finished Game of Thrones, got a Netflix contract, and Disney backed out of their contract with DBY with the D&D.
Was that after the Game of Thrones release?
After it ended. So they got the Netflix contract after Game of Thrones ended, but also after the Disney contract. Then Disney saw the Netflix contract and pulled out. So they're now no longer doing Star Wars, which means the reason that they rushed the last 2 seasons has become fucking irrelevant.
Yeah.
And that annoys the shit out of me.
Was it because
Fuck
Netflix
'em.
sort of said, how many zeros do you want?
It's
on the back of
basically,
this
yes.
one?
That's the thing. Like,
Yes, Netflix were like, what's your Disney contract? Here's like an extra 0 each. There,
Yeah.
take it. And make, I think they're doing like 3 movies or a TV show or something. I got no idea what they're doing for Netflix. But they're now no longer doing fucking Star Wars. And they rushed Game of Thrones because they
They're
wanted
still
to
giving
do Star
Brian,
Wars.
I think even Brian Johnson, his
Ryan Johnson's still doing his trilogy at some point, but they're taking a break. That's a good segue. Let's talk about Star Wars this decade. I have enjoyed it to a point.
I have enjoyed elements and what like I honestly like Ryan Johnson's.
I do too. I really enjoyed
I think he
The
did
Last
some, he
Jedi.
tried to do some things that like were a little bit left of center, and I think some things work, some other things just push the boundary a tad.
Yeah, the horse dog thing.
Yeah,
no,
look.
that felt like ripped out of the prequels and put in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
But the Force Awakens, right? That is going to still be my favorite cinema going experience of the entire decade because it was fucking Star Wars, and it was new.
It was just a New Hope, just
And
like
it was
slightly
a new,
changed.
but I fucking love watching A New Hope because it's my favorite Star Wars movie because I got the fucking VHS.
It is
when I was
literally
7
like
years
you
old.
got the Legos Death Star set.
Yes.
Then you built it, and then
Yes.
you've kicked it over,
Yes.
and then you just built it again.
but it's slightly different. But it's still the Death Star.
the journey,
it's still-
but the
it's
journey's
now-
still fun.
It's now Starkiller Base. But yeah, like it's I cannot explain to you the feeling I got in that cinema when the Star Wars logo like dun, 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 like popped up.
Well,
I fucking went from like flaccid to erect to fucking ejaculate in about 3 seconds. Like it happened in one big arc.
You were the Vince McMahon meme just the whole way through.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, oh my god! Like, and by the end of that movie, it was that feeling of like you're a kid and I'm sitting in front of my shitty parents' CRT TV, having put in the fucking Star Wars VHS for the 10th time that day when I'm on school holidays, because that's all I did when I was a kid, and it was that again. So like for that reason, like Star Wars, the first Force Awakens, I will never hate it, but it is derivative. Last Jedi tried to do something different. I appreciate the fact that it did, and also the other two movies, the Solo one and the Rogue One one. Take or leave it. I don't give a fuck. They're fine.
If you have the time, watch them. Do what you want with your spare time. It's up to you. Yeah. But I'm glad that Rian Johnson finally
took a chance.
He took a chance. He showed me what it looks like when two ships crash into each other during hyperspace, which is honestly something that I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, like I remember seeing that opening night in IMAX, and just the collective like draw of breath, just like everyone in the cinema going. Because no one had ever seen that before, and it looked fucking amazing.
And the way
it was,
the sound is like the last time I've really been captured sound wise by Star Wars was in the Clone Wars with the sound of the
sonic charges?
the sonic charges where it's like boom.
Yeah. Even though that shouldn't work in space.
That shouldn't work in space.
But it sounds cool.
It sounds cool as, and I think, and that's the thing about Star Wars. It teleports you. It's
it doesn't matter.
It's a movie about space wizards.
I know. Yeah, no. In this,
and that's what I'm saying. Out of a grand scheme of things about the decade, if you got art. Film and art transporting you to a fantasy place, and the kind of and the result that you get from that, you look at the Star of the Year and you look at The Hobbit trying to do that, and it failed miserably just because it did some things. It probably wasn't. Honestly, I don't think people were ready for another trip down Middle Earth. I don't think people
weren't ready for another 12-hour trip.
No.
To Hobbiton.
No, I don't think so. Whereas
we're still exhausted from fucking Lord of the Rings.
Whereas I think people were ready for Star Wars. I
yes.
think when Disney said we're going to do more Star Wars, and it came around 2015, 2016, and then if the Force Awakens happened, and then the ball rolled, and then it just picked up so much steam. But now I do feel like we're entering the space of maybe it is a little bit too saturated. Maybe we are getting a little bit too much. But
I think they're taking a break after this one.
That's what I'm saying. Now that we don't have this, I think maybe putting in the Han Solo and the Rogue One movies were a little bit too much. I don't think you needed those.
I think with they're taking a breath as well as Marvel's taking a breath too.
They need to.
Like,
you
got to take a breath
else.
after.
You need to let other studios have a go.
Yeah,
no,
let them bring something new.
You've got to let the audience breathe, because
it's a breathe.
They're going to very quickly discover what Guitar Hero very quickly discovered is that you can create a market, you can own the market, you can saturate the market and kill your own market.
Yeah.
Like you need to build a bit of tension. You got to tease the audience a little bit.
Give them something to miss.
Well, I was going to make a hand job reference, but that's more classy.
Yeah, fuck me.
So,
we'll just do movie of the decade, guys. Come on.
So real quick, what's your film of the decade?
I'm going to start just really quickly. I'm going to be a bit of a basic bitch. Avengers Infinity War, specifically.
Okay.
I liked Infinity War more than I did Endgame, because I think Infinity War did something that I haven't felt in cinema in so long, with that fucking ending where the bad guy won. Now, you knew there was going to be a sequel, but had they not, like, if you knew that was the final film, it felt conclusive. Like, I had not seen a film being able to do that. And then, like, the shock, like, I've never, like, aside from A Quiet Place, which obviously it's a quiet movie, but that movie was dead fucking silent when Thanos snapped his fucking fingers and everyone just dipped away. And, like, the cinema and the movie producers themselves knew that was the exact same response they were getting, because there was no soundtrack, there was nothing over that. It was just pure silence as they all drifted away. And that was just fucking orgasmic for me this decade. That takes it.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough, yeah.
I know I said
it's tough.
I know last week I said Spotlight. I really liked the narrative, and I really enjoyed the kind of real world implications that film showed. But I've had some time.
Yeah.
And I think Hunt for the Wilder People I think.
Oh,
is for
very
me.
good choice. Very good choice.
Which is a bit of a left of center choice as well. But if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. It's
Hey
one
man,
of
for directors, Taika
it's
Waititi's had a
Taika
decade.
Waititi. It's Taika Waititi's decade as well. I think he's produced a lot of good stuff this decade as well.
I really need to see Jojo
But The Hunt the
Rabbit.
Wilder People is a story of a child who's an orphan who ends up being brought into this foster family in rural New Zealand, and ends up essentially running away from
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill.
Yep.
They end up having this big adventure, and it's a beautiful, almost surrogate father-son story, which is always really nice after the implications of like the death of great death and sadness that comes through all this. Yeah, so essentially, it's a great film. Go see Hunt of the Wilder People if you haven't seen it.
Cool.
It's very much a
He
recommendation.
makes just these delightful movies.
That's what I'm saying. It has heart to it, but also it has a bit of spontaneity and lightness to it as well.
does. Fuck, I don't know. It's so hard.
All right, I'll go next then.
Yeah, you
so
go.
for me, like you brought up something there with Spotlight, and that was like this is another decade where I feel like we've got another genre that's come through, not just biopics, but like films that explain historical events through narrative. And like Spotlight was one which was like, okay,
Patriot Days.
like this is how we figured out, like this is how it all came to light about pedophile priests. And then you've got like American Sniper. It's like that's more of a biopic. But like for me, I was gonna say my film of the decade though is The Big Short. Because
I love The Big Short.
Oh, good choice.
Adam McKay.
Because The Big
Yep.
Short for me, like, so the global
Dude, that's an
financial
interesting case
crisis
study.
is a fucking complicated thing to talk about. Because
Yeah.
you're talking high finance, which is so fucking complicated. I'm not even joking.
I love how they dumb it down though in that movie as well to
That's
those.
what I mean. It does such a good job of translating things that are literally unintelligible. There are whole formulas inside high finance that make no sense, that nobody on earth can figure. We put this into a computer and we make money, but we don't know how the fuck that thing works, right?
But I will watch a movie where Ryan Gosling tries to explain that to me.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
No, but they don't even have that.
the tits.
Every now and again, they'll just be like, they'll have Ryan Gosling just come out and be like, you don't want to see me fucking explain this shit, right? Because you think it's boring as fuck. I think it's boring
So
as
here's
fuck.
Margot Robbie.
Okay,
in
in a
bath.
bath-
Robbie
in a bathtub.
explaining this shit.
Or Selena
right?
Gomez at a poker table.
Yeah, and then they had another thing. Oh, you want to understand how fucking
Dude, when they get Anthony Bourdain.
I also love as well Christian Bale just listening to metal music in his office for the entire movie.
I'm pretty sure that's the thing that guy did. Like that's why that's in the movie.
Yeah.
Right. But what I mean is that like it's an extremely complicated subject, and they were able to explain it. Like do basically spend 2 hours doing an ELI 5, like explain like I'm 5, right, on the whole financial crisis. And I think that was like really really like a really fantastic use of cinema. Was that? I would. So that's for me. That's like kind of my film of the decade. Was kind of like being able to use cinema to tell a really super complicated story in a really simple way, but not remove any of the nuance of what makes it super complicated.
Absolutely. For me, the four honorable mentions for me really quickly. Inception, I absolutely love, but it's too cliche for a lot of people's favorite movies. The Town, which is, I still think, perfectly directed, written, starred in, and it's got a great supportive characters of Chris Cooper, Jeremy Renner with Ben Affleck, as well as Rebecca Hall and Blake Lively. I've also got in there two, Big Shorts in there for me as well, another honourable mention. But probably and Mad Max Fury Road's also another honourable mention for me. But for me, the rebirth of the Mission Impossible series, Ghost Protocol, Fallout, all the movies are
dude.
amazing.
Which one?
Dude,
You
Mission
have
Impossible.
like one, or are you picking just the like?
I'm going to pick the whole lot.
fair enough.
I think
Yo.
Tom Cruise has rediscovered our love for action movies, and Mission Impossible hit every nail on the head as well.
This entire room just collectively went, what?
No.
I just love the aesthetic change between number 3 and number 4 because it's the way they set up the two. Because number 3, the start is literally so intense. Like the bad guy having a gun to like the heroine's forehead, being like, "Where's the rabbit's foot? Where's the rabbit's foot?" To number 4,
Give me the rabbit's foot.
being like, I'm pretty sure it's a chase sequence of like them trying to find like there's like an assassin and then a full chase sequence.
That's because the producers of the Mission Impossible movies figured out the less we give Tom Cruise to say, the better.
But this
the
wasn't
movie
even
is.
Tom Cruise wasn't even like.
But we give him more to do.
We give him more to do. That's what
He's
we
acting
give him
more-
to do.
We strap him to the side of a plane. We put him in a fucking falling helicopter.
Yep.
We
He's
put him running
acting more
down
in
the
the
Burj
third one.
Khalifa.
So he went from
or running
acting-
through the desert in Dubai with the sandstorm.
He
starts
puts
to happen
the
as well.
act in acting for that fucking
Yeah.
film.
He's-
Like he just is action.
Dude, the
Like,
way they foreground they foreground the sandstorm element that comes in is so good when he's on the
Yeah.
outside. And he's
Yeah.
just like, "What the hell is that?" And he's like, "Oh, it's a sandstorm."
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Also, like,
I also want to bring up as well.
great
for-
ensemble cast.
for someone
Dude,
in the
Simon
late,
Pegg, who would have thought
Yeah,
he would have
Simon
come
Pegg.
out with
Bill?
Jeremy Renner.
yeah, well, Jeremy Renner's, but he's done like Jeremy Renner's been doing stuff like as you said, The Town.
Yep.
He's shown that he can hold himself in a secondary role
But he
very
did,
well.
He also did like the reboot of the Bourne Identity.
Well, yeah.
He's also Hawkeye.
Let's not talk about that, please.
He's also Hawkeye.
He's also Hawkeye.
He's also
guys.
Hawkeye.
Like he's also in Avengers. So he's
Yeah.
doing shit.
All right,
But
okay.
I was-
so
but-
film of the decade.
Film of the
Michael?
decade would be. I'm
one?
going to say Mission Impossible. I'm going to say Fallout. The last
man,
one
good man.
was really good.
Good
Ghost
man.
Protocol. Another honorable mention, really quickly for me, is Django Unchained.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Cool. Yeah.
good
No,
pick.
dead set. No. I think Tarantino has to be mentioned in this decade because he's done.
We haven't even
stuff.
talked about Hateful Eight, which is funny.
It's a stage play. It's not a movie.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
fucking stage
I reckon
play.
it would work better on Broadway or something than it would.
Well, they did a reading of it at Comic Con with
That
just,
would've
like,
been-
the actors on
dude,
stage.
that would've been
and
so
just
much
did a
better.
dramatic reading, and
Yeah.
it was like so good. But anyway, Justice League. No. I'm kidding.
I was hoping
I'm
to
kidding.
meme.
Hashtag release the Snyder Cut. Fuck off. I hate that so much. It's my least favorite meme.
Snyder
It's
Cut.
my least favorite meme of the year.
I'm
Release
also
the
kind of
Snyder
getting
Cut.
teased for
Dude,
my
we-
show because I'm going to get
you
Ricky
kind of
to
got to
do
leave
this
Snyder
next
alone
week.
at the moment, though. Like he's been through
Yeah,
some
no,
shit.
leave Snyder alone. But like the fact that he's like tweeting out like his cut of the film and like Batman. Bruce Wayne.
Well, the David Ayer cut
Fucking
of,
what's his name?
Suicide
Superman in the black Superman suit. Like in the last week. Fuck off, dude. Like stop teasing these people because these people are violent, crazy DC fans. But it's Mad Max Fury Road. I can't go past it. It is
Yeah. No.
beautifully
fair enough.
shot,
That's all you need to say.
fantastically acted. It has my favorite shot in a movie for the whole decade. It like I said, it's that movie that if I can't decide what to watch, I'm just like fuck it, I'll put on Fury Road, and I'll always have a good time. And I love Tom Hardy. He's such a beautiful boy. I want to kiss
The
his
man
little face.
can't do no wrong, man. He can act in anything.
He
said
can act
it last week.
He can act with anything in front of his face. It's
Underrated
amazing. Like,
actor of
just
the 2010s,
so many
Tom
things.
Hardy.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to give an honorable mention real quick to La La Land because like I'm not.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
Damien
real quick, I
Chazelle.
don't want to turn this into a whole thing. I just want to say I'm not a big musical guy. I don't like musicals.
He brought it
Les-
back.
Les Mis is like one of the single most boring things I've ever done in my life.
fuck that movie so much. I
High
hate
school,
it.
I don't rate High School.
But as an
Musical,
original musical,
right,
it's pretty good.
Which I say behind a riot shield.
The less said about Russell Crowe, the better.
But less
What?
said
We got Cats coming out
but
this year.
La La Land convinced me that a musical can be actually good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's and,
They
and
made a-
except for the fact that Ryan Gosling was shit on by Emma Stone. Emma Stone makes that movie,
Dude.
and Ryan Gosling lets her down. In my opinion, he should not have been in that movie.
I can't picture anyone else in that movie.
Yeah, it's
though.
so weird.
There's,
I know,
there's
I know, neither can I.
there's nobody else
At the time, but he was the face of Hollywood at the time.
Yeah. He's got those soft features.
It felt like he phoned, either Emma Stone was so good, it felt like he phoned it in, or he actually phoned it in.
We're in the
Because
decade of
he
the
let her
riots.
down.
I'm hard on Ryan Gosling, man. Like, I just don't get the appeal. I just don't get it. The man can't act, in my opinion.
obvious.
La La
You've
Land, I agree
obviously.
The man
You
can't.
obviously haven't-
Drive is the only film. Drive. I'll give
No,
it
obviously
have you seen a
never seen
place
it. What
beyond
about
the
Gangster
pine?
Squad was actually a really good movie with Ryan Gosling. in
Fracture?
it.
Have you seen
I
Fracture?
don't get it.
Oh
No,
my
I just
god!
don't.
Big Short.
And that,
And The Big Short too, yeah.
It's the final one for the movie section of this podcast, but I
You've-
just don't.
you've obviously never
he's-
seen The
he's-
Notebook?
He's done.
And you've never been touched the way that I have been touched.
Dude, he did First Man. He did a
I hate that
Oscar
movie,
bait
it's so
film
shit.
this year or last year. First Man
I've
was
just-
that this year or
I've
last
just-
year?
Yeah.
I just don't vibe this Ryan Gosling trend that the white girls seem to be getting into. Like,
Nah, Fracture's
Dude,
really
as a
good,
trend,
man.
it's been going since like 2006.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, is
All right. That's enough of the Gosling cast. We could do a whole episode on Gosling, right?
I could.
Really quick, before we wrap up, let's go through the video games.
Yes.
Because the Game Awards were literally
Yes.
yesterday at the time of recording. And
big congratulations.
big congratulations to Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
Yo.
I was like, honestly, looking at the nominees for that, I thought Control would get it because that felt really like kind of Oscar.
Sam Late wrote that, so he's
that was an Oscar baity kind of game. Death Stranding, I thought might have been a shoe-in just because like people come for Kojima.
Kojima won Best
Right.
Direction, so I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm
Resident
happy.
Evil 2, I didn't like. I thought was a good choice for a nomination. I just didn't think
Yeah.
it was going to win it. right? Because it is a remake, right? Same with Smash. I don't even know why Smash is on that list. The Outer Worlds is probably the only other strong contender. Sekiro for me was a dark horse. I didn't see Sekiro.
And I'm with John on that. I couldn't believe Locke predicted it. Sekiro for me is
Dark Souls was popular. Why wouldn't this be?
but
It's Dark Souls with a grappling hook.
but we're going
So
down,
good.
We're going down a direction with which is I think. It's a good thing that the Game Awards chose Sekiro because it's the gamiest game of the list,
It absolutely
right?
is.
So it's saying to me that we're not taking the Oscar approach now.
It's not narrative.
Because
it's
if an
more
Oscar approach would have
function-based.
had it, Control would have won. Because Sam Lake is very, very influenced by Hollywood media.
I think
It was an Oscar bait game.
Oh
straight
yeah,
up.
because Hideo Kojima isn't influenced by
and
Hollywood fucking
Hideo's
media.
Look, dude, massive shout Hideo Kojima. First game for his first studio, already nominated for Game of the Year. He won Best Director. The guy's made, right?
Yeah.
We stiffed.
But that didn't feel like an Oscar baity game. That was more like a that was more of an art house sort of a thing. You know what I mean? Like art house movies, they're good, but they don't win Oscars. That's what I mean. It didn't feel like it was.
They get the
win
noms.
it.
So I guess we'll have to be quick on this one because we're running a bit of time. All right, so I'll start my game of this half. It's tough
Let's
because
just
I
go
think
game of the decade.
Game of the decade. Oh, I'm going to continue what I said last week. Like I genuinely think To the Moon has got to get so much more praise than it really did. Like that to me is the perfect game. From creation to narrative, from art design to every little beat of that was so perfectly executed. If I didn't have to pick that, you give it to Last of Us. You give it to The Last of Us in 2013. That is still being talked about. It's a genuine case study for academics in the field who are not studying just games but just entertainment in general. They reference The Last of Us as one of the best narrative experiences in a video game. Yeah, Last
It's
of Us
just
will take it.
the people that just haven't seen enough movies though. Because I feel like The Last of Us has a very, very solid narrative, and I think the gameplay
is
it's pretty
basic.
It's sound. It's
But it brought
it's thought
in,
out. It's good,
like,
but it doesn't do anything. It
Like this
doesn't.
gritty Oscar baity kind of like acting resonance to voice acting for
Yeah.
a game. So they bring it like, and they're
But I
both
feel
really,
like Heavy Rain has been doing stuff like that.
yeah,
for
yeah,
ages.
but Heavyweight was
Detroit Become
Once again,
Human, Beyond Two Souls.
Once again, yeah, that's-
it's just
Quantic
It's-
Dream and Sam Lake linking up.
it's
Like that's what that is.
It's quick time events with 10-minute cutscenes in between them.
And that's meant to be a game.
It's
is
kind of
is it
gaming.
fun?
It's especially like Detroit. I'll give it to that because like you have such a branching path, and I love the branching path.
Yeah, Detroit was a fucking brilliant narrative. In my
Yeah.
opinion.
I
But that's
really-
what I'm saying. Just at the start of this, it's brilliant that Sakara won Game of the Year because it's a gamey game. It's a gamey game with narrative embedded, which is interesting because we could have very easily given it to something like last year with Detroit Become Human, which was a brilliant narrative, great concept, but it was just
But
quick
it
time
was
events, so it wasn't a gamey game.
Interactive movie.
Yeah. But whereas giving it to Sakara was a great choice because it hits every other beat, and it's still a very good narrative game too, right? It's Dark Souls in this essence of that. Like you can go through the game and not understand narrative, but if you want the narrative, go and find it, and it's there and it's good. But yeah, so continue, please.
Praise the sun.
Amazing Spider-Man that came out this year is probably is my game of this
PS4
year.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. Have you played the Amazing Spider-Man?
No, I've bought it with my PS4,
Dude,
but I need
it's
to play it.
really, really good.
Yeah,
so
I
like,
wanna
it
play
takes all the ideas and narratives that Spider-Man does, but it's pretty much recreated the game from scratch.
Yeah, this is
So-
like removed from like comics,
Yeah,
movies.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just it's a whole
It's not an add-on for marketing purposes. It's
Yeah.
an actual game.
Well, I mean,
And-
Except for the add-ons. The add-ons are...
they're both owned by Sony, but yeah, sure.
But
Yeah.
but the general game mechanics of the game, like the swinging, because everyone was worried about the swinging mechanics, but it's really fluid and I think it works well. I think for the game of the decade has to be Overwatch. Has to be.
Yeah,
has to be.
fair.
That's fair.
Um,
That's a very, very market savvy choice. It's either that or Fortnite, to be honest. If
Hey,
it's
it's
like
the game that I reckon I probably played the most. I think over the past
Fair
5
enough.
years.
My game of the decades, I don't play as much games as
Yeah.
you four collectively, but probably from me I'm playing all my games on the console. I'm going to go with the games that started my love for the series back in 2005, 2006. I'm going to go with Splinter Cell Conviction.
Hey.
I thought it was a really good game.
Okay, yeah.
I'm a massive fan of Sam Fisher. It's a
No, I agree.
great agent.
Yeah, as a fellow Splinter Cell fan, like as a Splinter Cell kid, I agree. Conviction was really, really good. Wait, Conviction or...
Blacklist wasn't too bad.
Yeah,
but
no, you're right. I was thinking, I get confused between that. Yeah, no, Conviction was good because it had Michael Ironside.
Yeah, but it did.
Blacklist completely fucked it. But if they couldn't get Michael Ironside, don't make a Splinter Cell.
Exactly.
Or at least don't make one with Sam Fisher. Make another one.
And plus, it was perfect too because it was sort of like it was looking into his past, but he's just trying to avenge his past and looking into what he can do in the future to make him a better person.
Yeah, dead set. No, that's a good choice.
Fucking Minecraft came out in 2011. Are we really going to look past Minecraft for the
Fair
game of the
though.
decade?
The game only just got good. Like it's been a beta and like a sandbox.
Started brilliantly.
Look,
Okay, so that was like for me, game of the decade is a really tough choice because for me it comes down to basically 3 games:
Yeah.
Minecraft,
Yep.
League of Legends,
Yeah.
and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Right?
Yeah, PUBG.
And here's why: because Fortnite took the world, but Fortnite couldn't do what it did without PUBG.
PUBG walked so the rest of the industry could run.
Yeah, right. PUBG built it, but also like League of Legends kicks off that idea of a trendy genre that spawns a million Me Too games. Even though everybody's like, yeah, but they didn't come out first. Defense of the Ancients came out first. Fucking, we wrote songs about it. No, Dota. So I don't give a shit. Right? Dota was a fun thing in internet cafes that was played by weirdo nerds like me, and nobody else gave a fuck. League of Legends put that into the mainstream, right? And you might make that argument for Fortnite, but I think PUBG, when you saw how it does in China, you go, no, it went to the mainstream,
It
and then
smashed
Fortnite
it.
copied it.
Yeah.
And they were the Me Too product, but that's fine. They were the Me Too product that then dominated, right? But then Minecraft can't be forgotten about because Minecraft kind of like
It spawned
it's the
what
sandbox
I would
game, man.
I think
It spawned YouTube Let's Play.
no.
in
What
my
I'm saying
opinion.
is that it did,
Yes.
is that it's a genre that doesn't really have a lot that have copied it. Any Minecraft clones, there aren't a lot. There are some, but there aren't a lot. But it's a game that people have consistently played
Yep.
for 10 years straight.
Yep.
Now, the only other game I can think of that's like that is like World of Warcraft, and even then. Or like EVE Online, and even then, like people drop off and then pick it up again later on. People aren't playing that consistently for 10 years straight.
It's got to be the biggest
I've
transmedia.
I've still
game
got
this decade.
mates who I hang out with my age who are like, yo, bro, do you want to go play some Minecraft
Yeah.
when we get home?
That's
Like,
what-
still
Simple.
happens.
It fits every age demographic. It's transmedia.
Like, we can just go
it's-
build some shit, like whatever.
Fucking PewDiePie. Okay, I agree. I think as a podcast we can acknowledge it's been Minecraft's decade.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Personally, Halo 4.
Yeah, fair.
Halo
I'll play
4
that.
because I never thought we needed a Halo 4. I thought Halo 3 ended, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll just never play a Halo game again.
I was shocked about Halo 4 too. I didn't realize how good it was going to
We
be.
didn't
But-
need Halo 5.
I didn't like it.
Didn't like Halo.
Didn't rate Halo 4.
I love the narrative. The narrative for me just the relationship between Chief and Cortana
Yeah,
is
just give me endless Cortana.
is tantantamount to that series
That
being
was
successful.
the one good bit of that game, though, because like,
And that's all I cared
the
about.
the rest of it, though, they were just like, oh, you know what? We're just going to ignore the fact that we spent 3 games like ending the war between humans and the Covenant. We're just going to give you more Covenant to shoot at. I'm like, give us a new fucking enemy. Like
They
you
did.
even set it up with the Forerunners.
Flood.
Yeah, but they set it up with the Forerunners and then never really paid it off in that. I
We
don't know,
had
maybe
the-
they did in Guardians. But
We
I
had the
never played it.
Prometheans for like the majority of that game. Like the Covenant were only sort of like the bookends at the top and bottom of that game.
Yeah, but like I
As-
felt like that was like it just felt like they didn't know how to like start that game. They were just like, oh yeah, all right, fuck it, we'll make it the Covenant. Oh, they're
Yeah,
a
no.
radical faction.
But also as like a first outing for 343, like pretty fucking successful. I know it was most of Bungie or like what was left of Bungie at that time left and bailed and made 343, but like I don't know, like they knew that the people that were going to care about that game were the people that are invested in the Chief and Cortana relationship, and they fucking nailed it. And like the mocap was beautiful, all the cutscenes, like that game has no right to look as good as it does on the fucking 360.
No, you're absolutely
Like
right.
that, they got every little bit of juice out of that fucking processor
Yeah.
and graphics processor, and made that game look stupidly good looking. Like it was unreal.
Absolutely.
Halo 5,
Push the engine to the absolute limit. I
it
think.
did. It pushed it like far beyond what I thought it was capable
Way
of.
before its time. So
Yeah. Halo 5 Guardians, like it is what it is. It's set up for like now Halo Infinite. I just want a conclusion to this storyline where they're going with Chief and Cortana. But Halo 4 just like going into it, I was like, I don't need another Halo game. We're done.
Yeah.
I loved Halo Reach. I loved ODST. I loved like the spin-offs and that. We got to have Halo 3 and it was a satisfying ending, but it turned me around and said there's more to explore with this story. So for me personally, I got to go Halo 4, and plus the online was really solid and I played shit tons of hours of it. So
Reach was my favorite Halo game of all time.
Yeah, Reach was mine
just
as
came
well.
out on PC. Anyway,
Anyway,
That's it.
Yep. So that's it. So that's
That's the decade done
that's the decade.
in our opinions.
Holy shit. Yeah. So I want to thank you so much for sticking around for this long and listening to us like kind of talk shit.
Oh, I missed my bonus round.
Oh, you missed.
Yeah, we'll get it next week.
Next
You
week.
sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get it. Next week.
Okay, it's an of the decade.
All right, what is it? Real quick.
Go.
Meme of the decade.
Oh, that's
Doing a Barnaby.
Doing a Barnaby.
Doing a Barnaby is the meme of the decade.
Meme of the decade.
For me, Grumpy Cats.
Grumpy Cat. That's a good one.
Fuck, I don't know.
It is hard.
Shit.
Mine is
Baby Yoda's on my feed right now. It's all I can fucking think of.
like okay. Going back, you got to think past this year.
Okay.
You got to think past this
I
year,
got
man.
one. SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah.
Yep.
As
Here's
as
why.
as an entirety,
As an entirety.
because it suits everything.
Oh,
It
shit.
suits everything, but it like, and I'm talking SpongeBob SquarePants, the TV show for me.
Oh, actually, no, I've got it.
Simpsons. I'm
I've
going
got it.
Simpsons. You can
I've got
use
it.
a Simpsons meme for anything.
Like Simpsons shit posting
I've got
as a thing. Yep.
What are those?
What are those? Yeah, that's a good one.
I fucking got it.
Yep.
damn, Daniel.
Oh, no,
Dan Daniel.
I hate Dan Daniel. Dan Daniel. Dan Daniel is just a derivative of what are those?
Back at it again
Pepperidge
with them
Farms.
white fans.
Mine is my meme of the decade, and it is like possibly the best meme template we have, and we should respect it while we've got it. Is distracted boyfriend.
No.
It is so infinitely usable, and let's face it, we're always, especially after this
Dude, the other
decade.
one. Arthur Fist.
Yeah, Arthur Fist.
Arthur
Yep.
Fist.
Angry. But yeah,
Oh,
distracted
no.
boyfriend is just, it's perfect because we're always looking for that grass is green on the other side. And let's face it, this decade, let's hope this next decade is a bit better.
You know what captures the zeitgeist of this decade, though? And I think this also needs a little bit of love. Sad Keanu.
Sad Keanu.
Sad
Okay.
Keanu needs
So-
a little bit
Wait,
of
this next decade, happy Keanu.
Happy
We
Keanu.
literally cannot talk about this anymore. We have to wrap this up. So I want to thank my guests for joining me. I want to thank Ricky Needs, David Yang, Michael Thompson, Lachlan Beeson for joining me. Thank you, boys.
Yeah.
You.
Cheers.
Yo.
If you like this episode, please tell a friend about it.
Chris
Listen to
Mish.
part 1 if you haven't listened to part 1 yet.
Do that, then do this.
Do that and then do this. Tell a friend. This has been Pint Party. Cheers.
Cheers.
This podcast is part of the Hartefact Podcast Network. For more of this and our other podcasts, head to hartefactstudios.com.au.